Is that as low as you can go? Okay, thank you. Hello, is that as low as you can go? Okay, thank you.
What are you doing?
Calling around to get the best rate on a car loan.
Why? Everyone knows Alcoa 10 is the best choice to purchase a vehicle or refinance your current loan. And with low interest rates and 90 days to your first payment, it's a no-brainer. You can even apply online and sign all the documents from the convenience of your home.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking.
Alcoa 10 Credit Union. It's so easy. Go to atfcu.com for details. Rates are dependent on credit score and equal housing lender.
With smartphones being such an integral part of our daily lives, it is truly an inconvenience when it doesn't work properly. It disrupts the normalcy of our day. When you go into the cell phone store to have it repaired, they just try to upsell you on a new phone. That's why the owner of iDrop, T. Kell, left those places and opened iDrop. His goal is a happy customer. T. Kell and the team will listen to what you have going on and work to solve the problem of your broken device in a way that best suits your needs, instead of trying to upsell you on something that you just don't need. They don't just repair phones, they can service your laptop or PC as well as your Mac. Windows 7 support is over, but iDrop can help you transition to Windows 10. They have a 5-star rating on Google with hundreds of positive reviews. Let me say that again. I don't think y'all understand how big this is. They have a 5-star rating on Google. Their customer service really speaks for itself. So if you ever find yourself with a device that isn't performing as it should, give iDrop a call at 865-888-9740 or check them out on Facebook at iDrop of Knoxville. If man made it, they can fix it.
Deep down the middle's got his man, and he's gone. Jason Swain, touchdown.
It's time for the Swain Event with your host, Jason Swain.
My man.
Real sports talk for the real sports fan.
All you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him.
It's time for the Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue.
Give me 2 laps and a Ric Flair.
Swain Event, SwainEvent.com, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America, 865-255-03. 3 minutes past the top of the hour. It is time, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the Swain Event. Taking you from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Ben McKee, Jason Swain, live here from the Low T Center studio. Download the free Swain Event app. Tell your friend to download the free Swain Event app. Tell everybody to download the free Swain Event app where you can listen live anywhere. You can go back and check out any part of the show that you have missed. You can text the show using the free text box. Questions, comments, any part of the show, you can send that in. We see it, we read it. Man, it's one of our best features here on the program. Ben, good morning, sir, man.
Good morning. Happy Pitt week.
Let's go.
Which feels weird because I am wearing a Pittsburgh Steelers sweatshirt.
It's all good.
As I say that, but it is game week for my Steelers, just like it is game week for your Chicago Bears and many folks listening, their Tennessee Titans. So it'll be a fun week. 5 days, 4 hours, 55 minutes, and 3 seconds away from Pittsburgh and Tennessee squaring off, according to Pitt's website. So I'm actually excited to preview an actual football game this week.
That's right, man. That's right. It's kind of hard to watch Pitt play against UMass because UMass is just about as good as Bowling Green. But Pitt took care of business. Pitt did with UMass what we as Tennessee fans wanted Tennessee to do to Bowling Green. It didn't happen that way, but you did win by 32 points. And watching college football over the weekend, Ben, I hope folks are grateful for that 32-point win that was never in doubt. You look over at some of the games this weekend, Ben, and woo, what a first week of college football. Upsets, some close calls by top 5, top 10, top 15 teams out here. And, man, last night we got a thriller. Notre Dame, Florida State. Man, I know we don't do moral victories, but Florida State is moving in the right direction. Mike Norvell has his guys playing a whole lot better than they have been. So they came close to beating Notre Dame, the top 10 team, but you know how it is, man. Them kickers, they got one job. You got one job, kickers. One job. That is it. But our kicker is 1-for-1 here at Tennessee, who I got a chance to meet last night.
You got to meet Tennessee's kicker last night, huh?
Yeah, that's my boy now. We
Chase
tight.
McGrath.
Yeah, we tight now.
He had a better debut in orange than Brent Smaglia did in blue and what's that type of gold? I mean, I know it's gold.
Gold
but
and navy, I think.
Is it like
with the Yellow Jackets?
Specific type of
I don't know.
gold?
It's just gold and blue and gold.
Brent Smaglia, not a great debut there in Georgia Tech.
He missed
in Atlanta. He missed 2, and they lost by 1 to a team that they should not have lost to. I can't remember off the top of my head, but not a great debut for Brent Smaglia there at Georgia Tech, who lost to Northern Illinois, 22-21.
I'm not gonna be petty.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna be petty like y'all out here. Some of y'all are just way over the top petty.
We'll keep it moving. But that was my biggest takeaway this weekend. I was locked into the television, multiple screens all weekend long, or I guess all Saturday, and then last night there was just one football game. I did not watch the 7-6 Jackson State over FAMU win, in which Terrell Owens was on the sideline with Dion. I did not watch that football game, but I did watch Florida State.
I missed that one. I did watch the classic between Tennessee State and Grambling. I did see that.
Who won?
Grambling. I tuned in to watch the bands.
I want Eddie George to do well. I like Eddie George a lot.
Yeah, it was a good game. They came up a little bit short. Lots of Tennessee flavor in that game because Charles Davis was on the call. They interviewed Mickey Allen, former Tennessee DB, and they kept trying to talk about Tennessee, with Mickey being, the great AD that he's going to be at Tennessee State. Just try to keep the focus on the school that he's at right now, but also respecting, his school, man, which is Tennessee, the school that he played at and received a degree from. But, man, he is now the AD at Tennessee State, building that program and making sure that every chance he gets, he brands the Tennessee State football program. So great scene there, great stage, but they came up a little bit short. But the staffs on both sides, there, Tennessee State and Grambling, you see the staff start to look like an NFL staff. Some of those NFL coaches that have been in the league for a very long time. Hugh Jackson's offense coordinator at Tennessee State. So just really cool to see HBCUs getting the attention and getting more of the resources that you see at typical schools with the exposure. But, man.
How did your Alabama A&M Bulldogs do?
They ain't my team no more. I told you, Tennessee State. We already did that. We already adopted Tennessee State as our team because of Mickey Allen.
You are correct. But I wanted to kind of go back to your point that you said off the top about just being thankful, if you are a Tennessee fan, for the lack of drama that Tennessee had on Thursday night. I know that it was 14-6 at halftime, but it never felt like Tennessee was going to lose the football game.
No.
Is my point. And that seemed to be the theme week 1 of college football is upsets and potential upsets. I mean, just in the SEC, Texas A&M struggled with Kent State for about a half and a quarter.
Yep.
It was not the debut for Haynes King that many expected, throwing 3 interceptions.
It was 10-3 at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So that was making A&M fans nervous, and I was not impressed by Florida whatsoever. Anthony Richardson, AR-15 is his nickname, which is a pretty dope nickname. But he came in after Emory Jones there late in the game, and it looked like the better quarterback to me. But Florida was not impressive whatsoever. LSU. and Coach O's sissy comment that backfired.
Oh, that's coming up later.
Well, it is. Arkansas struggled with Rice, even though they went on to win 38-17. I think that was a close game going into the fourth quarter. I had that one on a side TV for a hot minute. I don't know how Louisiana Tech blew the game to Mississippi State. They were up by like 17 points, and State came back in the fourth quarter and won. Missouri did not look all that great against Central Michigan. And then, obviously, the fighting Randy Sanders and the ETSU Bucks.
Hey.
Knock off Vandy.
I got a new segment. I'll let you answer the phone because I kind of have to have your attention to tell you about the new segment. Since you're part of the show, I mean, you're 50% of the show, Ben. It's important that I tell you this new segment.
I'm interested.
This new segment for today, and we'll see how we can do it in the future. But where's your drink? You got your drink for today?
I don't have a drink.
All right, man. This is dangerous now because we got a lot of electronics up in here. But new segment where I tell you a story, something that happened in college football. You take a drink of anything, and you have to keep a straight face. The segment's called Straight Face. You have to keep a straight face. You have to hold your liquids. And I was thinking about this as I was trying to hold in my laugh, realizing that not only did Vanderbilt lose to ETSU, but they got the brakes beat off of them by ETSU. The muffler, the spark plugs, the steering wheel fluid. Just what are you doing, Vanderbilt? What are you doing? The coach out here had the players without their names on the jersey.
Oops.
What are you doing? You thought that was going to work? You thought that was going to motivate the guys more? They lost to ETSU and got drugged in front of a stadium attendance that Maryville High School.
No. ETSU would have had a packed out. That game should have been played in Johnson City. People in Johnson City care more about football than people over on West End.
Man, I had a couple straight-face moments, man.
But to your point, I mean, Maryville High School, Maryville College was packed more than Vanderbilt Stadium.
I had a couple straight-face moments. I was trying to keep a straight face. The video I saw, the UCLA recruiting page that put the clip of Ed Orgeron walking to the stadium, getting heckled by UCLA fans, and he called the dude's shirt a sissy shirt. We're going to
bring that sissy blue shirt in here.
Yeah, sissy blue shirt. And UCLA never had a doubt. I mean, UCLA had control of the entire game.
Dominated in the trenches, which, to go back to the Vandy game real quick, pretty sad that ETSU dominated Vanderbilt in the trenches, and not trying to take anything away from ETSU. What they did was tremendous. But the point is, an SEC school should never, I don't even care if it's Vanderbilt, should never be dominated in the trenches against an FCS team.
This is the wrong time to be looking like this if you're Vanderbilt. You got teams coming into the league. This is when you're supposed to put your best foot forward.
Yeah, and I was disappointed in some of you listeners. I saw y'all's tweets this weekend. I enjoyed the ones making fun of Vanderbilt, but I was disappointed in those of you who were saying that Tennessee needs to try and trade, or the SEC needs to try and trade Vanderbilt out of the league. No, Tennessee needs Vanderbilt in the league. So I was disappointed in some of y'all saying that SEC, instead of expansion, needs to try and make some trades. No. Tennessee needs Vanderbilt to stay right where they are.
They're a rival. They're a rivalry game, right?
Right.
Yeah, you can't mess up the rivalry games. Yeah, man. But UCLA, had the league the entire game. 14 points in the second, went up 14-10 at halftime. It was 24-20 third quarter. The UCLA put it away with 14 points in the fourth, and only 7 for LSU, winning 38-27. And Coach Orgeron is on his way to being Gene Chizik.
Or he already is Gene Chizik.
He's on his way.
Another game in which the offensive line, the trenches, determined a football game. UCLA and that offensive line. Woo! I didn't think it was possible for an O-line in the Pac-12 to dominate somebody like that. And they dominated LSU. I mean, that was the theme, and kind of, in my opinion, the two biggest games on Saturday was LSU, UCLA, and then Clemson, Georgia. And what both teams that lost, they lost because of poor offensive line play. And, I mean, we just talked about it with ETSU and Vandy as well. Offensive line play got Vandy beat. Vandy also couldn't stop the run. So if you want to take a positive away from Tennessee's performance when watching these other teams, I know it was Bowling Green, but that was the one thing that Tennessee did check off, in my opinion, is that they pushed around Bowling Green in the trenches the way that they should have. They ran the ball the way that they should have. They stopped the run the way that they should have. We can talk about Joe Milton and the passing game as a whole, but that should give fans hope for these upcoming 50-50 games that Tennessee's going to play in, is that they did push around Bowling Green the way that they were supposed to, and you see some of these other teams lose because they weren't pushing the other team around.
I'm going to get to the phones, but I got to mention one last disappointment.
Miami.
I knew that was going to happen, though. I had my guts. I had brought my own guts. I had my rock. I was rubbing my rock.
Interesting.
Just rubbing the heck out of it, man. Just rubbing it. Did nothing. Just rubbing it for nothing. Just over here rubbing my rock for no reason. I had my guts ready. Had my guts on the side. I was all in. For what? Quarterback on Dr. Pepper commercials. Can't even score a damn touchdown. Had me ready for a Clemson win. This was the only time outside of Clemson playing Alabama in that championship game that I was rooting for Clemson, and you let me down. You let me down, Clemson. The Georgia defense is real, though. You let me down, Clemson. You let me down. That Georgia defense.
I wasn't very impressed by DJ Uiagalelei.
What? What'd you say?
I mean, he kind of reminds me of Joe Milton, honestly. All the physical tools in the world, and you see why
easy.
There's so much potential, but game starts going, and
he didn't want to run, man. He had plenty of opportunities to run. He didn't want to run. But that Georgia defense is real. Anyways, you let me down, Clemson. All that talent there, couldn't even put up a touchdown. Let's get to the phones. Speaking of Clemson. Knox and Mike, good morning.
What is going on, guys?
What's up, man? Where you been?
Man, well, if you would pick up, if you'd ever read your DMs, you'd know. But I see how it is, though.
Hey, man.
I know.
Hey, man.
Don't feel bad. It's not just you. He doesn't read texts. He doesn't read DMs. He doesn't read Facebook messages. It's not just you. Don't feel bad.
Don't worry.
I'll read them.
I feel. No, you don't. No. Facebook shows you when you see them.
Well, now, so Mike, the place where you try to reach out and talk to me is like the place I'm rarely at, and that's on Facebook.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, listen. Quickly, a couple quick things. As far as the Tennessee game goes, look, I mean, you probably seen my tweets. Look, man, hey, last year we scored over 30. I think it was 32 points or 35 points or one time, and that was against Vanderbilt. I'm not going to complain, man. I came in. I came in with just like, okay, we'll see what happens. Whatever. It was Bowling Green, but we still won.
That's right. About 32. Never was in doubt.
Right. We still won. But hey, if you don't mind, right quick though, you know me. You know I'm a Clemson fan. And let me throw this right here. Let me throw this out to you. Let me brag on you for just a minute.
Okay.
Do you remember, and I remember, do you remember how many times in the past you have said, and it's about Tennessee, you have said you got too many receivers that do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
All Clemson's receivers are 16,000 foot tall, but they got no speed except for Justin Ross. They couldn't do anything. The offensive line is still giving up sacks at 7 o'clock this morning. Yes, Georgia may have they ain't gonna beat Alabama, but by God, they do got a good defense. But when you got an offensive line like that Clemson does, you ain't even gonna win your conference.
No. I mean, thanks for the phone call, Nasser Mike, man, because we got to take a break here. But let me help Nasser Mike because, it's been a while since he's called in. He's a little excited. He did not mention that he is a Tennessee fan as well. He is from South Carolina, so he kind of grew up, right there by Clemson, so he saw a lot of Clemson. So, Clemson's is his other team. But he is a Tennessee fan. He forgot that part. People might be confused. Why is he calling in if you're a Clemson fan? He's a Tennessee fan and a Clemson fan. So people, so you know that. And also, Mike's chili is hot. Hot chili. Speaking of chili, you think Mike Eckler is okay? He said he was okay.
Did he?
He said, yeah,
I was trying to interpret y'all's back and forth. I was struggling.
I think he's okay. Just from the response, I think he's good. I think he's all right.
Possibly.
He might have concussions.
Maybe the fact that I couldn't decipher what he was trying to say is truly the sign that he is okay.
I think he's okay, man.
Because how often does Mike Eckler make sense?
After that fart the skillet comment, man, I'm completely lost. I'm completely lost.
Exactly. So I think I would be more concerned about Mike Eckler after he headbutted somebody on the team and made his forehead bleed. I would be more concerned about him if he did make sense on Twitter. I think it's a good sign that he does not make sense on Twitter.
He's okay. We need him to be okay because, man, what a big-time matchup for Tennessee. This is the game. It's the game because next game. No, it's the game. This is the game. This can be the swing game for Tennessee. This is why you move the game up Thursday against Bowling Green and have an extra day to prepare for the Pitt Panthers. Man, let's get it. Noon game. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Got a lot of corrections to make. Had opportunities to hit some deep balls. Got to fix those. Got to fix some things in the secondary. But the play in the trenches was a pleasant surprise for this defensive line. And I talked to Caleb Tremblay yesterday on my VLT. He was part of our broadcast. And so got audio from our conversation we're going to play for you. And it's gonna be about the defensive line this week for sure for Tennessee against Pittsburgh. We'll take our first break of the day. Ben McKee, Jason Swain, stay with us. Be right back.
If you want to get in on the conversation, call the Iris Networks hotline at 865-200-5503. Grow your business with Iris Networks high-speed fiber internet. IrisNetworksUSA.com.
If you're coming to Knoxville and need a place to stay, do yourself a favor and book a room at Hampton Inn Paper Mill, also known as the Hampton on the Hill. This award-winning property is literally in the top 5% of all Hampton Inn properties. The GM, Stephen Lawrence, is a good old local boy who grew up in the business around Knoxville. He and his staff are always available, always willing to help, and will go above and beyond for their guests. The newest Hampton Inn in Knoxville has clean, affordable rooms, flat screens, fridges, and microwaves in every room. Plus, breakfast is included in every rate. Not to mention, there's also a pool and fitness center on site. If it wasn't so close to amazing restaurants, bars, and shopping, you would never want to leave. At only 6 miles from campus, you're still right in where the big orange action is. Go to HamptonInn.com, search Knoxville, and book your room at the Hampton Inn Paper Mill or call 865-693-5400.
Good morning, Swain Event crew. As the weather heats up, so does our market, and from Johnson City to Knoxville, eager buyers are grabbing up many available properties. The chili is hot in East Tennessee, so if you are ready to buy or sell or want to talk more about our local real estate market, I'm just a phone call away. Or email me at jennifermorris865@gmail.com. And go Vols!
We're here with Dr. Michael Carlson of Tennessee Regenerative Sports Medicine to discuss PRP, platelet-rich plasma. If you have orthopedic injuries such as shoulder pain, knee pain, Achilles tendonitis, or tennis elbow, you should give them a call.
Good to be back, Jason. We specialize in non-surgical orthopedics, so we treat damaged tendons, ligaments, and joints, including rotator cuff injuries, knee injuries, and elbow and foot problems by using ultrasound-guided injections with PRP. And this form of treatment helps stimulate the body's own reparative process and assist in the healing of damaged tissue.
Doc, what makes your training different than others?
I've been practicing in Knoxville for over 26 years, and I'm certified in interventional regenerative orthopedic medicine through the American Academy of Orthopedic Medicine. They've been the leader in this form of treatment since 1983. I also teach this form of treatment on a national and international basis to other physicians, residents, and medical students. Here in our clinic, I'm the one doing the procedure, and we're using your own PRP, which are concentrated platelets, to treat your injury. So in other words, Jason, it comes from you and it goes back to you. So you know exactly what you're getting and know exactly the level of training involved.
Do what the pros, college athletes, and I have done, and visit them online at trsportsmedicine.com. Tennessee Regenerative Sports Medicine, East Tennessee's leader in PRP therapy.
Top 100 barbecue restaurant Dead End Barbecue is a no-brainer when you are craving the smoky flavor of quality Q. Dead End makes it easy to enjoy their fantastic menu with online ordering from Chow Now for pickup. Or if you don't feel like leaving the house, then have Dead End Barbecue delivered right to your door by Loco Knoxville or Bite Squad. Cheer on your favorite team with the best barbecue around. Check them out online at deadendbbq.com. Dead End Barbecue. The search is over.
For a replay of each day's Swain Event TV, like us on Facebook.
Swain Event, SwainEvent.com, fueled by Dead End Barbecue. Man, Facebook is good for something. I went over there to Facebook to holler at my man, Knoxville Mike. Asked him what happened to his team. Why they couldn't score more than 3 points. Man, Georgia defense is real, though. But
technically, Georgia did not score more than 3 points.
Well, Clemson didn't score more than 3 points, excuse me. But I went over there to answer Knoxville Mike, and I saw that today is Robert Ayers' birthday. Vol legend, first-round pick of the Denver Broncos. It's his birthday today. Now he's the defense coordinator at Catholic High School. They're 1-0. Defense did a good job in their first – no, they're 2-0, I think.
Should be 3-0.
Are we already 3 weeks into – oh, we are. We are in week 3
I
of high school
don't know if
football.
they won on Friday. I don't know if they won on Friday.
I saw people talking.
I know Josh Heupel left Carnes.
Let me see.
Josh Heupel showed up to Carnes to watch Deshaun Bishop go up against Walter Nolan.
Deshaun Bishop was the best player on the field from what I heard.
Yes, in my opinion. 268 yards, 2 touchdowns, a big kick return that set up a scoring drive. I have a comp, and we have this Caleb Tremblay audio here that we'll play for you in just a moment, so don't want to go too far down a rabbit hole.
3-0 Catholic.
But I have a comp, but I don't know if people are going to take well to it, but I mean well by it.
Go ahead, man.
Deshaun Bishop reminds me of Ty Chandler.
That's a good comp.
I mean, Ty Chandler did rush for over 2,000 yards at Tennessee.
Ty Chandler was a beast for North Carolina.
That's right. No, not 2,000. There's no way he ran for 2,000 yards.
In his career?
Mm-hmm. Maybe totaled it, or I don't know.
That's a good comp. Todd Chandler was a freaking, I think he was an All-American there coming out of high school.
He was high-level 4-star.
He was a high-level 4-star for sure.
I don't know. Just kind of, maybe it's the fact that Deshaun's wearing number 8, but I don't know. I just kind of think the mannerisms and the way Deshaun runs kind of reminds me of Ty.
That's a great. I mean,
kind of. He's not like too short, but he's kind of. I mean, he's built well. I really like Deshaun Bishop. We had some questions on the GQ about. Do you think he's the general's quarters over at VolQuest? Do you think he's a legitimate take? And I think that he is. I mean, I think the fact that Heupel stops by first thing Friday morning after a late night win over Bowling Green, I think is very telling.
2,000 yards at Tennessee.
Rushing.
2,500 all-purpose.
Gotcha.
But, yes, rushing 2,000 yards at Tennessee, and he had about 500 yards receiving, so 2,500 from scrimmage. And he was dang good against Virginia Tech in that loss. He was really good. He wears number 19. So, I mean, he was their best running back for sure.
Yeah, so I really like Deshaun Bishop. I think he is a stud, and I think Tennessee's in a real good spot there. He is a year behind, so he's a junior this year, so he still has another class to go. But Walter Nolan, Deshaun Bishop squaring off, and we spoke to both of them after the game, so there's plenty of content up on VolQuest if you want to check that out. But Heupel and Rodney Garner in attendance there at Carnes Pal, and then Heupel left at halftime and went over to Catholic to watch Trevor Duncan, a 2023 prospect, there along the D-line, O-line there for Catholic. So Josh Heupel making the rounds locally. I know it pleased many when I tweeted out a photo of Rodney Garner and Josh Heupel in attendance, because some did not feel like the Tennessee coaches were present locally enough. The last staff was not present in the local area enough. So many people were excited to see Heupel hanging out at Knoxville High Schools, because he visited West, he visited Catholic, and this was Friday morning.
Who's at West?
Nobody currently.
Okay.
But I think that's just somebody to stop by and check in on. There's Shannon Blair, who camped with Tennessee. He's committed to Michigan State. He suffered a season-ending injury in week 2, so thoughts and prayers to him. I just can't imagine losing your senior year to injury.
That stinks.
It does, because you can't redshirt in high school. But Shannon Blair's been somebody that they've been keeping an eye on, but I think it was more just a courtesy visit to say hello.
Gotcha.
West is a good football program.
Gotcha. So last night, the locker room on my VOT, we did our show and talking about the Tennessee Bowling Green game, college football as a whole, and the Tennessee Pitt matchup, and part of the NIL deal that we have so far there at the locker room. Last week we had on Velus Jones. This week, defensive lineman Caleb Tremblay, transfer from USC, was on with us, and I got a chance to record part of the segment where I take a player and we have our own 6 or 7 minute conversation. So here is our conversation last night on the locker room on my VLT. Hey, Caleb, man, good to have you on this evening.
Yeah.
Everyone knows about Rodney Garner in the SEC. You know, a couple stops and multiple SEC stops, multiple SEC places. How has it been for you being able to be coached and mentored by Rodney Garner?
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, like coming here, like I didn't really know what to expect. People would tell me like how he is, like how he coaches, but I think the biggest thing I learned is like how much he cares. Like he from the standpoint like of where he's coaching, he's just trying to get us better. And I heard him mention like the tough coaching. Yeah, like we're getting coached hard, but it's to do our job. And like he's trying to like get us better, and like understanding that as a player, like that's everything. Yeah.
Give us the difference between Pac-12 football and SEC football. I know that was a big reason for you to come out here just to play in the best conference in the land, but just give us kind of the differences between the two.
Yeah, I would say like when initially getting here, like the style of play is different. Like the Pac-12 is a finesse, like all pass rush kind of league. Like out here, like you really got to learn how to play the run, and that was like a big area of growth. I didn't even realize that I needed. Like people were a lot better technically at playing the run. And that would honestly be the biggest thing. Like, there's a lot more play action, like from a football standpoint, like play action, like learning how to play the run, and all that. Like, that would be the biggest difference.
So, when you were in a group with other players playing your position, kind of like family.
Yeah.
Who are some of the guys in the room that maybe are the funniest guys that you've really been able to connect with?
That's a good question. I mean, honestly, everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy everybody on the D-line. Honestly, like, you know how it is, like the meeting room. That's you keep everything in the meeting room. But those are some of the best times, where you're correcting each other's film, you're kind of making fun of each other. Like we all have a great time, like hanging out with each other and stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
So obviously playing on the defensive line, you want to get to the quarterback, you want to get sacks. But what's some of the other things that Coach Gardner talks to you about? If you can't get to the quarterback and get those sacks, what else can you do?
Well, you guys actually mentioned it earlier, getting vertical. Like that's one thing. Like I wasn't really self-conscious of. Like my footwork. Like that is one thing I could do every play, whether I get to the quarterback, whether you get a TFL, like where are you stepping, like how is your first step, and like what's your footwork like you could make a play and have bad footwork. Like that's one thing I'm learning, and those are things to work on.
Have you got a chance to watch some of the Pitt film yet? What do you think about them?
I shortly watched like the end of the game yesterday. I saw they're blowing out UMass yesterday, but I heard they're experienced offensive line. They got a lot of seniors. I think they might have a super senior at quarterback, but I think it's going to be a good test for a defensive line, absolutely.
For sure. Caleb, the DBs, the defensive line, you guys kind of work hand in hand.
Yeah.
Are you guys in constant communication about, hey, get those mitts up, tip those balls up for us?
Yeah. I mean, we just that's just like part of our drill work, getting our hands up. We do that pre-practice every day, working ball hands. I saw Big O. He got a crucial tip late in the game when it mattered, whether it was a turnover, like pass interference. I don't even remember what the rules are. But that's just drill work, to be honest, like getting your hand up late, like if you're not getting to the quarterback, just, whatever you can to affect the quarterback.
I saw some guys on the ball wall that was really stylish, man.
Yeah.
Are you one of those guys that we can point to that was really stylish, and give us kind of your take on the first ball walk for yourself?
First ball walk was cool. Yeah. I wore some cowboy boots.
There you go.
And I had a little like black button down, but honestly, like I need to step up my game. I need to go to the store and get some.
Did you have like three buttons unbuckled? You show the chest.
No, I didn't show the chest at all. No. I got some blue jeans. Cowboy boots. Should have got the cowboy hat maybe next time. Yeah.
Hey, you got a perfect opportunity. It's gonna be a day game. It's gonna be electric. It's gonna be really, really electric. So I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
Going back out there. Anything that you saw in the first game that you saw on film, you're like, hey, I want to make sure I want to get better at that so I can do it against Pittsburgh. What stood out to you from the first game?
For me,
just say you was awesome. It's okay.
Yeah. I feel like I left like. I think when I said earlier, like the nerves of the first game are always there, and like I feel like I'm gonna be way more settled in, just like focused on doing my job, and like you could always play harder. Like I'm always thinking of like little things I could have done better, but.
That was Caleb Tremblay, Tennessee's defensive lineman, joining the locker room last night on my VLT. One thing that stood out to me being about that conversation is he's just blown away. Like he's blown away by SEC football, the interest in SEC football, the fans. I mean, he's not that active on Twitter, But he was like, man, I need to get a little bit more active on Twitter, man. I need to start connecting a little bit more with the fans because they are on it. And one of the biggest things that stood out was him talking about the difference in the crowds. Like he said that the Bowling Green game, which had like 80-some thousand people, it was loud at some points. But come on, it was Bowling Green. It wasn't like it was Cal or Oklahoma or Florida or anything like that. But he said that game against Bowling Green, like that crowd would be like one of USC's best crowds in a rivalry game or a big game. So like take UCLA and USC or USC Oregon, USC Stanford, something like that, night game, and that would be like the Bowling Green game. It's just different. SEC football is just different. But man, he's super cool, super laid back. You don't expect anything different from a Cali boy, anyways. But Chase McGrath was there with him. You know, his USC boys staying together, hanging out, and so he was offset and got a chance to meet Chase McGrath and try to get an autograph for you, Ben. I know how much you love those kickers and punters, man. But he didn't have a pen on hand. So.
I'm very disappointed that you were not able to snag that for me because Tennessee is #PU, #KickerU, #PunterU, #SpecialTeamsU.
Specialist U.
I like PU the best.
Yeah, I bet. 865-255-03. I ain't gonna lie, man. After watching college football as a whole, I felt better about Tennessee football. And listen, I didn't feel bad. I just wanted Tennessee to win 70-0. I wanted to beat Bowling Green down.
Well, I think the problem was that we knew how bad Bowling Green was, that because Tennessee only scored 38 points, it felt very underwhelming.
Yeah.
And it still was because there were opportunities left out on the field, and I think we all expected the passing aspect of the offense was going to click a little bit better even for a first game than it did. Joe Milton missing wide open receivers, receivers not running the correct route or not running the correct route well enough to throw off the timing of the throws. It was just the passing game as a whole was not very good, and I don't think that we expected that in this new offense with some of the pieces that Tennessee has. So that's why we walked away feeling kind of meh about the performance, but mainly because we thought Bowling Green was just going to be horrific. And honestly, Swain, they surprised me, and I'll be curious to look up in a month and a half, 2 months, and see what Bowling Green is doing, because I don't know that they're as bad as we thought that they were. Still not a great team, but I mean, you watch their quarterback, who had a 44% completion percentage last year. He did not look like that guy whatsoever. And it's not like I didn't feel like Tennessee was shooting itself in the foot a ton. I mean, there were times where the wheel route coming out of the backfield was wide open, and the linebacker's eyes were in the wrong place and not picking up somebody out of the backfield.
Bad angles. Yep.
Yes, there were mistakes, absolutely. But I didn't feel like Tennessee was just self-inflicted wound after self-inflicted wound. I thought Bowling Green did some good things on offense. They were better than I expected, quite frankly. And I'll be curious to look up 2 months from now and kind of see how their season is going, because I think it's going to go better than we anticipated. Will they win the MAC? No. But I think they're going to be more competitive than I thought that they would.
Yeah.
But you look at some of these other scores. We mentioned the ones around the SEC. You see Washington lose to, I don't even remember who they lost to. Somebody they weren't supposed to.
Man, everybody was losing to people they weren't supposed to, or finding themselves in dog fights. Montana.
Yes.
Montana Grizzlies beat the 20th ranked Washington Huskies at home.
You know the primetime game this week?
It should be Tennessee-Pittsburgh, but
it's Washington at Michigan.
Oh, my
That's
gosh.
the Kirk Herbstreit game. Now, granted, there aren't a ton of good games this week. It's week 2. Everybody's playing their cupcake games.
Oregon, Ohio State?
That's the noon game.
It should.
That's the noon game on Fox.
That should be prime time.
Which, by the way, that Wisconsin-Penn State game was tremendous.
Yeah, that was good. But come on, man, we got the Johnny Majors Classic.
That's right.
This weekend, like it should be prime time. It should be a moment to highlight how great of a coach Johnny Majors was and what he did at Iowa State in his first gig as a head coach, what he did at Pittsburgh, and then what he did at Tennessee. It would have been a perfect time to highlight his accomplishments, his legacy, his greatness, and I hope they find some time to do it, even though they're not going to, be here. And I understand, Tennessee hasn't won a lot, so I get that. But like the opportunity to highlight Johnny Majors and his legacy and how great he was as a coach, this will be a perfect opportunity to do that. Iowa and Iowa State play this weekend.
That'll be a good game.
Yeah, that's a rivalry game.
Iowa killed Indiana.
Yeah, they did. That's a top 25 matchup between those two teams. Texas and Arkansas play.
Texas looked good, man.
Yeah,
I was with Billy Napier and kind of what he's got going on there at Louisiana. I thought Louisiana may upset Texas, and Texas. I mean, there were plenty of tweets about it. When was the last time we had a drama-free Texas football game?
Man, it's been a while, man. Steve Sarkisian may have things in the right direction. He may get it rolling there. Stanford, USC play. Utah, BYU, they play this week. That's always an early season rivalry game. But yeah, there's some good games this weekend, but not like it was last weekend. And I think Tennessee should be playing at night, but it is what it is.
Is
man.
Tennessee on ESPN?
I think we're on Jefferson Pilot.
College football is going to have the game of the century later on this year, right?
What, Tennessee, Vanderbilt?
Vanderbilt is involved in the football game. On October 2nd, Vanderbilt plays Connecticut.
Oh, my gosh.
Who Connecticut lost to Holy Cross over the weekend, and it was Holy Cross's first ever win over an FBS team since 2002. So bad that Randy Edsel announced that he was retiring at the end of the season yesterday. So on October 2nd, I don't know where the game's played, but Vanderbilt plays Connecticut. That literally might be the worst college football game of all time. Vanderbilt, who lost to ETSU, going up against Connecticut, who lost to Holy Cross.
Vanny plays Colorado State this week and may lose that game too.
Oh, Vanderbilt is probably going 1-11 or 0-12. They're losing to Colorado State, although I believe I saw Colorado State got drugged. They're going to lose to Stanford, which Stanford did not look good either. That's another team that disappointed. And I love David Shaw, but the last 2 or 3 years, Stanford has taken a step back. And then they play Connecticut, and they might beat Connecticut.
They played Georgia before they played Connecticut.
Oh, yeah. Vanderbilt.
They played Connecticut at home.
Might go 0-12.
They might. Yeah, Vanderbilt might go 0-12. I'm looking at the schedule right now. They might go 0-12.
Ugh.
They may go 0-12, like for real, for real.
As long as that 0-12 includes a loss to Tennessee, we're good.
Well, we play them, so it will.
I got a text from a friend of the show yesterday morning, and he said, "Bro, WTF happened to Vandy last night?"
Hey, man, don't worry about Vandy. You evolved now. Tennessee gives you more love than your own school. I know you're talking about.
On that note, we're going to Don.
Let's get to Don. Don, I'm going to get you in trouble, Ben. Don, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
What's up, Don?
Happy Labor Day. To be honest with you, I was lazy this morning, and I didn't much think you guys would be live today, so I didn't turn it on.
Come on, man.
No days off during football season.
Yeah, no days off. We like Bill Belichick, man. I was up till like 2 in the morning smoking a butt.
You're up till 2 smoking?
Yeah, man. So 2 butts. I'm finishing them off right now in the oven.
Interesting.
Ben, I'm gonna send Ben home with some if he cool with his little smart ass.
So you got directions to your house.
I do. Go down I-40, turn straight.
Yeah, okay, that sounds pretty good. No, I've watched a lot of football this weekend, and though I was a little underwhelmed by our performance the other night, when I saw some of the messes I saw over the weekend, I thought, well, maybe we ain't as bad as we thought. I guess the biggest thing in talking about our quarterback performance the other night, I'm watching that Florida State Notre Dame game last night, and they bring a quarterback in that haven't played since 2018. He's playing with one leg. And when I watched him, I thought, man, I wish our quarterback could play like that.
Golly, man. I mean, it was
not hearing anything.
It was two drives. He did a good job, but like man, we won't give up a opportunity to ish on our own, man. Golly. I mean, he did a good job. Like, he did a good job. He made the running game was on point for Mckenzie Milton, so he didn't really have to throw the ball that much. But when he did, he was accurate. He did a really good job. Did a great job, the low snap, getting the ball out and throwing it out of bounds. But man, like every chance people get, man, crap on our own. I just don't understand. It was one game. It was one game. Wasn't great. Some good things here, some bad things here, but my goodness, man, I said it last week. This is why when Casey Clausen comes back, it's like people feel like it's a miracle, because it's annoying. Like, it's sad. Like, it's just one game. He's our own player. I don't understand fan bases, man. I don't understand how fan bases do their own players like that. I don't get it. But then you over here crossing your fingers, lighting incense, hoping that the players come to your school on National Signing Day. But they get here, and the first chance fans get, you want to trash them. You trash your own players. I don't get it, man. Quite frankly, I'm tired of seeing it. I don't care if you like what I'm saying or not. I don't care. I'm tired of seeing it. So annoying. 865-255-03. We'll get back to the phones after this.
If you want to get in on the conversation, call the Iris Networks hotline at 865-200-5503. Grow your business with Iris Networks high-speed fiber internet. IrisNetworksUSA.com.
JC's Tree and Landscaping Service specializes in quality tree work done at an affordable price. Trimming and removing trees are their specialty. They also offer other services like land clearing, stump grinding, crane services, and all of your basic landscaping needs for both commercial and residential. JC's will give you a free estimate and beat any written quote by a competitor to guarantee that you get the lowest price around. Don't risk your land with a fly-by-night service. JC's Tree and Landscaping is licensed and insured. Give them a call at 865-599-3799. Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. Firms from Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham have stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local law firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. They are our neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at GarzaLaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help. Guys, your health right now is more important than ever. I recommend Low T Center. That's where I get my levels checked. It all starts with the annual wellness exam where they do a comprehensive health assessment exclusively for men, making it quick and easy to take care of your health. And now they offer monitored self-inject at-home testosterone treatment. Most insurance is accepted. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book your appointment and make your health a priority. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
It's a new season, which means it's time to rep your team in new ways with gear from Game Time Sidekicks. Rep the Vols with every sip with a new tie-dye tumbler or bottle. They also have a new NFL Players Association product line, so you can support your favorite VFL on Sundays. Want to put your own flair on a tumbler? Game Time Sidekicks has you covered with options to add your own text or even a monogram on the back of your favorite team tumbler. To check out everything that Game Time Sidekicks has to offer, go to GameTimeSidekicks.com. Carry your team with Game Time Sidekicks.
Around the SEC this morning, Swain Event fueled by Dead End Barbecue. All right, Ben, what do we have for around the SEC today?
Literally want to go around the SEC and talk about the scores that took place on Saturday. Real quick before we get to Coy and Macon. Alabama took care of business against Miami, 44-13. Just an absolute bloodbath.
Did they practice? Did Miami practice over the all season?
I don't know.
Oh, they're just getting them NIL deals, though.
Not anymore. Georgia took care of Clemson 10-3. Texas A&M went on to beat Kent State 41-10 after leading 10-3 at halftime. Florida beat FAU 35-14. UCLA beat LSU 38-27 in a very impressive showing for Chip Kelly. Looks like he has UCLA truly, finally headed in the right direction. This isn't going to be received well, but the third most impressive team around the SEC over the weekend was Kentucky, in my opinion. They beat UL Monroe 45-10. I get the level of competition wasn't great. We'll truly see the true colors against Missouri this weekend in what should be a really good football game. But Will Levis looked really good throwing the football. And if that is genuine and translates to some of these bigger games, then Kentucky is going to be a problem for folks. Don't think they're going to go win the SEC. Don't take it that far.
That's what they've been missing, though.
But that's what that offense has been missing. And Wan'Dale Robinson had quite the showing. I bet Scott Frost was drowning in his tears. So I thought Kentucky looked really good against Louisiana Monroe 45-10. Arkansas struggled with Rice, but came out to win 38-17. Mississippi State stormed back from 17 points down to beat Louisiana Tech 35-34. Missouri beat Central Michigan 34-24, despite Jim McElwain not coaching because of COVID. Auburn took Akron to town, won 60-10. South Carolina beat Eastern Illinois 46-0. And the performance of the week goes to the ETSU Bucks for knocking off Vanderbilt 23-3. And then we have one more SEC game this week. Louisville at Ole Miss, or against Ole Miss, I should say, because it is in Atlanta, the Chick-fil-A kickoff game. 8 p.m. ESPN. Ole Miss is 9.5-point favorites. Lane Kiffin will not be coaching because he has COVID, which I wonder who gave him COVID. But that's a different conversation. Louisville at Ole Miss in Atlanta tonight.
Let's get to the phones. And
we got Coy and Macon.
Coy and Macon. Good morning, Coy.
Hey, good morning, guys. Y'all doing all right today?
Man, we are wonderful, man. Bless.
Laboring on Labor Day.
I heard that, man. I'm headed to the Waffle House and then to the golf course. It's going to be a good day.
Look, you didn't have to mention all that, all right?
Oh, man. So I did not catch any of the Pitt game this week. Just wanted to see if you guys could give us some, maybe some things to think about going through the week. You know, what are some of the key matchups we'll be facing that we'll need to win? You know, some of their best players, and you know what that's going to look like on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I watched the first quarter of Pitt and UMass, and almost fell asleep, to be honest, watching that game. But they have a quarterback that I think will play at the next level. He has a lot of experience. He can run a little bit. He's tough. He throws it pretty well. You know, he can beat you. He can beat you. And Kenny Pickett, number 8, he wears gloves like Teddy Bridgewater, and you know, wears gloves on his throwing hand, on his offhand. But he's tough. He's a senior. Like I said, he's experienced. He's the guy that makes everything go. So better make sure that you stay in your containment lanes, something that Rodney Garner has done a really good job with this defensive line, really focus on those guys getting vertical. But when you get vertical, you stay in your lanes, because he's a guy that if he gets outside the pocket, he can pick up the first down and beat you with his legs. So I need to watch more, Coy, to be honest. I saw the first quarter. Pitt fumbled. He had running backs that fumbled after catching the ball. It was a little sloppy at first, but then Pitt started to take care of business, which is why they won 51-7. But I just watched the first quarter so far.
He's their best player.
How big up front are they?
How big or how good?
Both. How big is what I said? How big up front? You know, offensive, defensive line.
Their offensive line is experienced. You heard Caleb Tremblay say that during the interview we played earlier that Swain did on the locker room last night. But if you look at kind of the advanced stats, they're not that great. Finished 11th in the ACC last year in run blocking. They did most of their damage in between the tackles, according to the Pro Football Focus data, and just kind of struggled on the outside of 1,500 rushing yards last season. Only 400 came outside of the tackles, and they don't really have a great crop of running backs. They have Vincent Davis, 5'8", 170. He was the lone bright spot for Pitt last year. Rushed for 632 yards, and no other Pitt back rushed for over 300. So they have experience, but, I mean, it's kind of like LSU. Everybody was touting LSU's offensive line returning. Well, that wasn't a great LSU offensive line last year. So is it really a good thing that the entire O-line is returning? That's kind of what it feels like with Pitt to me, is that, yeah, they have guys coming back, but they weren't very good last year. And defensively, they have a really good defensive tackle, Kalijah Cansey, one of the better interior defensive linemen in the entire country last year.
Gotcha. Well, looking forward to the game, man. I think it should be a good one, and more of a true test to see what we have. I'm excited to see the improvement from week 1 to week 2. I got an early for you. You guys may be going this way anyway. I didn't think it was that bad, but man, was Brian Kelly last night saying that his whole team might need to be executed. I think the media is going to jump on that pretty hard.
Oh man, it's already happened, man, and he's already had to come out and clarify what he said. He made those comments on the field after the game, and then during his press conference, he tried to clarify it. So. Yeah, man, not Brian Kelly's best interview there.
Well, look, guys, y'all have a good week, man. I'm going to listen to the rest of the show. Y'all have a great Labor Day, and enjoy your barbecue you got today, Swain.
Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Just remember, Coy, you may be golfing while I'm laboring today, but on Friday, while you're laboring, I'll be golfing. So
there it is.
We'll swap places on Friday.
There it is. I don't want to hear anything about my friendship.
You want to come be my caddy?
Nah, man. I might be carrying your golf clubs.
Look, no, you don't have to literally carry, because we got a cart. You can come drive the cart. You can drive me around, and you can sip on your adult beverage.
I can do that at the crib, and I can text you and tell you it's all in the hips. It's all in the hips. I can send you like a little voice memo. It's all in the hips. I'm good, man. I'm booked. I got stuff to do.
Yeah, shocker.
I gotta watch. Some Loudon football film. Got to call that game this Thursday.
Okay, but I'm asking you to go Friday.
I'm booked. I got to get ready for the pregame show. It's an early game.
It is going to be an early pregame show. What game do you have for Rivalry Thursday this week?
Loudon. I'm going to Loudon. That's what I know right now. I'm going to Loudon, man. So Loudon and whoever Loudon's playing, I'll be starting that prep today, man.
Sounds like you need to get on it.
Let's see here. I got it right here. Gatlinburg-Pittman at Loudon. So that's the game I have this Thursday. So I'll be watching some Gatlinburg-Pittman. I'll be watching some Loudon between now and Thursday and getting ready for that game, man.
Whole lot of Pitt in your week this week. Gatlinburg-Pittman and Pittsburgh Panthers.
I guess so. I'm cool with those two. I ain't trying to watch any Steelers, though. 865-255-03. Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue.
At work? Can't call in? Don't feel bad. You can talk to the guys on the text box. It's part of the free Swain Event app.
When you start your own business, you know that branding can make or break a new venture. That's why Swain Event relies on 42nd Street. 42nd Street is a strategy agency focused on finding creative, open-minded, results-driven solutions to brand design. After over a decade of operations in East Tennessee, the brand architects at 42nd Street have the experience and creative know-how to ensure the success of your business branding, logo, web presence, and more. To see a real-life example of their amazing work, you can check out our website at swainevent.com. Don't trust the branding of your business to just anyone. Check out my friends at 42nd Street online at 42st.com or give them a call at 865-382-7007. 42nd Street, brand, strategy, design. When I made the move to my own studio, I was worried about this. I was worried about that. I was worried about, hey, did I get this piece of equipment? Did I get that piece of equipment? Does that sound good? Does that not sound good? One thing I didn't have to worry about, that was office furniture, because Office Furniture Outfitters met my furniture needs. With a 50,000 square foot facility, they have East Tennessee's largest selection and are the best value for new and used office furniture. Located in Knoxville, it's easy to find everything you need for your new space, including desks, file cabinets, chairs, conference tables, and more. Office Furniture Outfitters is turnkey. They came to my place, we mapped everything out that was needed, they delivered, and get this, set everything up. To learn more about what Office Furniture Outfitters can do for you, log on to ofonox.com. That's ofonox.com.
Top 100 barbecue restaurant Dead End Barbecue is a no-brainer when you are craving the smoky flavor of quality Q. Dead End makes it easy to enjoy their fantastic menu with online ordering from Chow Now for pickup. Or if you don't feel like leaving the house, then have Dead End Barbecue delivered right to your door by Loco Knoxville or Bite Squad. Cheer on your favorite team with the best barbecue around. Check them out online at deadendbbq.com. Dead End Barbecue. The search is over.
I just wanted to come by and congratulate you on the great work you've been doing.
I like your style. You remind me of a young me.
Failure is not an option.
That boy is good.
Hoes, remind yourself, nobody built like you design yourself.
Attaboy. Attaboy is brought to you by Made in Tennessee Business Fiber Internet from Iris Networks. Find business solutions for you at irisnetworksusa.com.
IrisNetworksUSA.com. That is a website you go, business owners, if you want to see how you can start your relationship with Iris Networks 90 days, no payment, high-quality fiber internet and voice. Again, IrisNetworksUSA.com. Business, internet, and voice. They bring us Attaboy here on the program where we highlight positivity. And, Ben, what do you want to highlight today?
Randy Sanders, former Tennessee offensive coordinator, gets today's Attaboy. I also want to give one to Mckenzie Milton, but you are going to go more in-depth on Mckenzie Milton here in just a moment. So I'll highlight Randy Sanders and the ETSU football team once again this morning because they deserve it after going to Nashville on West End and beating Vanderbilt 23-3. 23-3. 20-point victory because ETSU was able to own the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Vanderbilt could not run the ball. Vanderbilt could not stop the run. It was a very impressive performance. They did give up a field goal midway through the first quarter, but the Bucs held Vandy scoreless for the remainder of the game, only allowing 318 yards of total offense. More impressively, ETSU forced 3 turnovers in the final quarter. Sophomore linebacker Steven Scott turned one of those turnovers into 6 points with a 27-yard fumble recovery for the touchdown, proving to be one of the biggest plays of the game. Senior Karen DeLentz of Phoenix City, Alabama, and freshman Sheldon Arnold of Loganville, Georgia, added 1 interception apiece in the win. The offense kept pace with Vanderbilt and had the defense on their toes. ETSU finished with 314 yards of offense. It is their first Power 5 win since 1987. Very, very cool. Shout out to Randy Sanders. And Joe Rexrode, in his column on The Athletic, threw in a pretty interesting stat about a particular player on ETSU. If you remember, the first game of the Derek Mason era was a 37-7 loss to Temple in 2014. And that game was coming off of the James Franklin era. People thought that Vandy could take another step with its football program. So there were some lofty expectations, and then they come out and lose to Temple 37-7. On that Temple team was a linebacker, Jared Folks. Jared Folks is now an 8th-year senior. 8th-year senior.
Wow.
And plays for ETSU. So this ETSU linebacker, Jared Folks, was on the 2014 Temple team that beat Vanderbilt 37-7.
Wow.
And was on this ETSU football team that beat Vanderbilt and Clark Lee's debut.
How many degrees does he have?
20-3. And
they got to have at least 3.5, 4 degrees by now.
I didn't think anybody could surpass Brandon Kennedy, but here we are. And Joe Rexrode had a great line to finish out his story. All Folks does is find more eligibility and ruin Vanderbilt coaching debuts, and he's about out of eligibility.
Wow. Wow, man, that's a good one right there. I'm giving my attaboy to Mckenzie Milton. Obviously, you just said that, but watching that game, Mckenzie Milton was not the starter, was not named the starter. The starting quarterback was struggling, 3 interceptions, and his helmet got knocked off during one of the plays in the fourth quarter, and Mckenzie Milton came in just because of that reason, not because the other quarterback was getting pulled, but simply because the starting quarterback's helmet came off. And once Travis's helmet came off, Mckenzie Milton goes out, and the first play is a pass. He completes it and led Florida State to 10 unanswered points after being down 18 entering the fourth quarter. But Mckenzie Milton led his team back to tie it up, send it to overtime. And just during the broadcast, Joe Tess did an awesome job, unbelievable job, telling his story right in the middle of the broadcast. But his sergeant was there in attendance. They had 3 teams of sergeants working. Mckenzie Milton, they said it would be a miracle that he would walk. He is playing. Not only is he playing, but he is leading his team to a potential comeback against the top 10 team in the country in Notre Dame. He was calm, he was cool, he was collected. The players rallied around him. They looked more confident in him. And if I am Mike Norvell, I'm starting him next game for sure. But I was a little nervous to see him scramble. He had a little run and had a couple, actually. And they showed his parents there in the stands. And it was an emotional time. Man, I was sitting there just kind of getting emotional as well, just so happy for him because
watching his mom.
Yeah, man.
That's what got me emotional.
Yeah, she looked a little nervous on all those runs, but he's Mckenzie Milton after the game says, quote, "God is real." That's one thing I can say. God is real. Nobody ever came back from an injury like this. I'm not tooting my own horn. He just answered the prayers of thousands of people praying for me for the moment I got hurt. My coaches believed in me from UCF to Coach Norvell. My teammates believed in me. I'm not here without all the support and all the prayer. So Mckenzie Milton, easily a fan favorite in college football this year. He gets my attaboy.
Yep, that was.
You wanted him here.
Cool to see. Yep, that was running through my mind last night, and I just thought Tennessee could have used that leadership, just where the team was last season, where Tennessee was last season, with the culture and the lack of accountability and the lack of leadership. I thought that, although you worry about him coming off of that injury and how effective he can be, that's obviously a huge concern and a huge red flag. I thought the leadership aspect kind of made up for it just based off of where Tennessee was last night. And I mean, you saw it in that first game for Florida State. His teammates were pumped for him, rallying around him. And that tells you just the impact that Mckenzie Milton has had on that FSU football team in just a short amount of time.
The whole crowd was cheering for him when he went to the game.
Mm-hmm. I may get some hate for this. I don't hate Notre Dame the way most people do, the way everybody does. I don't know why. I like Jeff Samardzija as a kid. I thought it was cool that he played baseball and football. So I think that's kind of why I've never really disliked Notre Dame the way most people do. I've never liked Florida State, and I think it goes back to Tennessee beating Florida State in the '98 national championship game, and the way Chris Winkie recently coached Tennessee's quarterbacks. So I was rooting for Notre Dame to beat Florida State, honestly, just because I don't know. I've always liked Notre Dame more than I've liked Florida State. But
I'm not a big Brian Kelly fan, so
I get it. I don't know. Of all like the big power brands or the big name brands, the Ohio States, USC's, Notre Dame's, Florida State's, like Notre Dame's been the one that I've least had a problem with personally. But so I was kind of just naturally rooting for Notre Dame to win that game. But the moment Mckenzie Milton came in, I wanted Florida State to win.
Yeah. Great story, man. Great story. College football. Hope he is the starting quarterback moving forward, and hopes he tears up. I hope he really does.
That Jack Cohn though was balling.
Yeah, he was.
Was balling, and kind of shows that, you know, we have conversations about how people treat Tennessee quarterbacks, and that's a testament to it happens everywhere, because you saw Kirk Herbstreit's comments during the game like, hey, where are you folks that were hating on Brian Kelly for starting Jack Cohn? Where are y'all? Y'all were in my mentions a month or two ago. Where are you now? And saw some tweets about, I wonder how Wisconsin fans feel now about Jack Cohn. So just kind of another example of it happens everywhere. Where there's passionate college football, where there's passionate sports, that's an unfortunate reality.
Yeah, he had a record for a debut from a Notre Dame quarterback. He had a record, man. He torched Florida State. But I know the quarterback position at the college level is a tough position to play. You get a lot of criticism. And it's not just Tennessee. But I don't care about other places like I do Tennessee. And we always brag. We always wear on our sleeve how different we are, how unique we are, how we better than you. We got the best fan base. We got this, we got that. And we can't just use, what everybody's doing and it happens everywhere when it's convenient. We brag about being different. Well, let's be different then. Let's be different. Danny White spoke about how Tennessee's always been out in front. Always been out in front when we unveiled the 4 statues. We always been out front. We've always been innovative. And so it's really unfortunate because these are young men that are not getting in trouble and they're working hard and not being bad teammates. And I just give grace when it comes to that. Now, there's a difference between Brian Mower and Jared Gantano. Like, Brian Mower was a cancer. He was a cancer, straight up, and I'm not going to go in detail, but he's a cancer. So I wasn't a big fan of Brian Mower. But Jared was somebody who worked hard and tried to impact in the community, never got in trouble, and cared. And he just wasn't good enough. And I'll just leave it at that. But there's no reason to continue to attack him as a human and take every chance you get to throw shade at the young man. Like, he wasn't good. Let's move on. And now, from one game where Joe Milton wasn't perfect, missed some throws, but he showed some other things that got me really, really excited. But like the over critique, the over being, analyzing over the top, like it's just, I seen it firsthand when I was a freshman. And I was real tight with the Clausens. And I remember when he was done, I remember how he felt, even though he took out a full-page ad. I think it was like a half-page ad. Even though he took that out, he did it because it was the right thing to do. But he wasn't happy. And I see it every year with every quarterback that come through here. And, Peyton ain't walking through the damn door. There's not going to be another Peyton. Anyways, we're going to the phones.
We've got West Tennessee Vol.
Folks' feelings going to be hurt if I keep going. West Tennessee Vol, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I am fantastic.
Well, I'm glad I heard the tail end of what you just said about people bashing these players that leave. And I agree with you. It's okay. I think a joke or two is okay, but they just take it too far. It gets old really quick. And the people who don't really care, there's a lot of the fan base that not necessarily doesn't care that they don't do well, but they don't care that they're not at Tennessee anymore. It's frustrating. I can relate to that. However, I did see something funny on Twitter the other day.
What you see?
It was last night about Milton. So somebody shared something that said Heupel requested Milton out of the transfer portal and got the wrong one. I just found that to be funny. But it wasn't a jab at anybody. But the Milton Mckenzie thing, so somehow I missed that whole story. Like, I had no idea that happened before.
Yeah.
And so my husband and I were talking about it last night because he watched the Tennessee game last night for the first time because he was out of town.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not a Milton fan. I tell him all the time he's a hater. But we were talking about Mckenzie Milton, and he was telling me about it, and I was like, that is so crazy. But it's so awesome that all of college football, whether you're a Florida State fan or not, has come together to support that.
Yes.
Because it's just been a thing. But that's not what I called for. What I called for was to ask y'all what y'all think. What do y'all think the biggest improvements will be this week with Joe Milton?
Well, I think identifying the open man. I think once you watch film and see guys are running open, I think that's going to be probably the biggest improvement. I mean, we can sit here and say that he's going to hit some of those deep balls, but those are low percentage throws. And I don't think that we'll have players running as open as we did against Bowling Green. I don't know if Cedric Tillman's going to be running past folks, even though he can. Just because you are a 4'6", 4'7" guy doesn't mean that any given play you can't step on the DB's toes and get behind the DB. I'm not saying that you only run deep routes with fast guys, but I'm just saying the competition is going to be a lot better. Those DBs should be a lot faster. So you may not see Cedric Tillman running past guys like he did against Bowling Green. I think you're going to have your deep shots. You're going to have opportunities. But I think you're going to see more of the completions in the intermediate zone of the defense. The digs and the curls and the comebacks, those 10 to 20-yard routes. I think Joe Milton will be more efficient in that area. That and running the football, like knowing, all right, I need to get down, or putting his shoulder down and go ahead and finishing the run. I think he was a little hesitant in the first game. He was in between, okay, do I need to try to get down here, or do I need to try to finish the run? A guy like him, he's so big, he's so powerful, but at the same time, you don't want to take extra shots if you are the quarterback. So I think that's where we see the biggest improvement with Joe Milton, those intermediate completions.
I kind of think the biggest improvement we see is the deep ball.
Okay.
I mean, I to be quite honest, I don't feel overly confident in my take, if I'm just being flat out honest. And maybe I am going a little too glass half full rather than glass half empty. Maybe I'm being too positive. But I don't think that was an accurate representation of Joe Milton on the deep ball, because you did not hear about that being an issue during fall camp. Heck, Tennessee put out a highlight video of him hitting Javonte Payton down the sideline, in which he hit him perfectly. So I think once you get Velus Jones back out there, you get Jimmy Callaway back out there, and I know Velus played, but I'm saying like truly get him back out there, because he was limited.
He needs to be featured more.
Yes, yeah. And that was on purpose. That wasn't Tennessee's coaches being naive and forgetting that they had Velus Jones. He dealt with a hamstring all fall camp. He was limited on Thursday against Bowling Green. But hopefully that hamstring is feeling even stronger, even better, and like you just said, Swain, he could be featured against Pitt. I think on that first overthrow, the adrenaline was just going a little too much. I mean, he about threw it out of the stadium. I think the adrenaline was going, and then the second one was better than the first, and it seemed like it was getting a little bit closer to being hauled in. So maybe I'm taking the glass half full approach, and maybe I shouldn't. We'll see against Pitt, but I just have a hard time believing that as much natural talent as he has, that was the accurate representation of Joe Milton. I didn't walk away from Joe Milton's performance and that be my biggest concern with Joe Milton. My biggest concern with Joe Milton was the multiple open receivers that he missed on a regular basis. That was my biggest concern moving forward. So I think area of improvement. I think they'll connect on a deep ball. I don't really know who, but I think somebody will connect with Milton on a deep ball for a big explosive play.
So you're saying the wide open receivers was your biggest concern
that he missed,
and I think that was probably everyone's biggest concern, including his and his coaches. I think that's going to be corrected more, and I think it would be easier to correct more again because those deep ball throws are just a low percentage throws. But I mean, you hit two of those, then it's gonna carry a lot of weight and it's gonna be huge. But I just think there'll be more opportunities to hit some of those crossing routes and things that he missed. And I'll say this one last thing about Joe Milton, and then we'll go back to the phones. If it's week 6 and we're saying the same thing about Joe Milton in week 1, then okay, I get the volume of criticism. I understand it. And I'm not saying that a player doesn't deserve to be criticized or critiqued when you play a place like Tennessee. This is big boy football. But the overreaction of one game is what kills me. Like, if he has 4 or 5 performances like he had his first game, okay. But my goodness, it was just one game. It's just one game at Tennessee. One game at Tennessee, new offense. Like, let the guys make some adjustments, and then let's see what happens after that. All right, let's go to the phones, and let's not go to the phones.
There's nobody on the phones to go to.
Not bad.
So if people would like to call in to the Irish Network's hotline, please do. Phone lines are wide open.
She just chilling on the line right there?
Yeah, West Tennessee Vols just chilling like a villain listening.
All right, that's cool.
Chilling like Will Smith in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Now, I will say this, kind of a counterpoint to what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I disagree. I do agree. But what does concern me is that these were the same mistakes that we saw at Michigan. Now, I'm willing to give him a little bit of grace because, again, I'm not faulting him for his time at Michigan because Jim Harbaugh has ruined every quarterback that has come through there. So I'm still holding out some hope that he's going to be able to correct those mistakes. I think it's much more likely that he improves in those areas here at Tennessee. But they were the same mistakes at Michigan. Could he just be that guy at this point in his career?
Well, hey, I think time will tell. You had a couple drops too, tight end, receivers. And so those guys got to clean up their game. They got to do a good job of helping Joe out too. So
passing game as a whole just needs to get better. Receivers need to run better routes. Milton needs to improve in several areas. The passing game as a whole just needs to get better. And you could tell that Heupel was very frustrated after the game because I asked him about the receivers because I was even just to the naked eye watching in real time throughout the game, I was not very impressed with the receivers other than Cedric Tillman. So I asked about the receivers after the game, and he kind of paused and it was almost as if he wanted to kind of get real frustrated, and then he had to kind of pause and take a step back and then just talk about how the passing game as a whole really needs to take a step forward. Yeah, you could tell he was displeased.
My receiver coach would have gave us the business in meetings. I mean the business. It would have been something else. A sight to see. All right, let's get to Turkey Man, then we'll take a bottom of the hour break. Turkey Man, good morning.
Good morning, guys. I hope you have a great weekend and have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
And I was, I guess my disappointment, I guess you'd say, from the game is exciting. Number one, it's exciting to get to see football. But I thought of the receivers. I don't know what the situation, but I haven't got a chance to sit down and just look at that. I usually do when I say something. I usually do. But during the game, it seemed like we was wide open a lot in the middle.
Yes.
And I want you to talk about that later.
Man, I talk about it now, Turkey Man. I mean, guys running open, and quarterback didn't see him quick enough. That's simple.
But that really concerned me. And the other thing that concerned me was that, how many cupcake games do you get? Especially, I want to see Hooker. Ben talked about his consistency, and I'd really, in his maturity, and I was hoping to get to see a little bit more of him in a game. But it seems like, and this goes with us being bashed, us being a ball fan, how many times we had a cupcake game and opportunity to get to see another direction because we don't get to see practice, an opportunity to build off somebody else, to build a depth, and we get disappointed in that way. But on the other hand, be fair about this. I don't think, I go with you, Ben. I said this 2 or 3 times this weekend. That team we played was not a bad team. I've seen a whole lot worse teams that played on Saturday. That competition was, it was good. In fact, we've been in trouble last year in a place or two, because they executed on defense, and they got in a rhythm, and our defense stepped up, or we would have been in trouble because offense was, it went minute in the second quarter.
Yeah, and, Turkey Man. I think Bowling Green wasn't good. I don't think they was bad as they were last year. Tennessee certainly should have beat them 50 to nothing, but they didn't. They didn't play, as well as they wanted to. And that happens. You look around college football, and there's plenty of teams that didn't play well, that had a number next to their name, and they're 0-1 today. So, I am, cool with a 32-point win and not any serious injuries. I know Cooper Mays We're gonna find out what's going on with him at some point. He got banged up a little bit and had to enter the game. So hope he's okay. But like, I'm good, man. It's Monday. Tennessee played on Thursday. Tennessee's not even talking about the Bowling Green game anymore. Those guys have moved on. Now, we don't play, so we can continue to talk about whatever we want to. But at some point, we're going to have to move on as well and talk about the Pitt game and leave the Bowling Green game kind of in the rearview mirror. So lots to correct, and it's good that you're able to make those mistakes and still win the game the way you were able to. That's what you want in the first game. We'll take a quick timeout, and we'll go right back to the phones after this.
While the other guys are taking guesses, the Swain Event is taking you behind the scenes and in the huddle every morning from 7 till 10 right here.
More and more Tennessee businesses are switching to Iris networks for reliable, local, high-quality, high-speed business fiber internet. Iris provides direct internet access from 10 megs to 10 gigs with no payments for 90 days. Iris also offers next-generation business phones with work-from-anywhere capability from the mobile or laptop app. With local sales, support, and service, Iris is a partner in the community. Learn more at irisnetworkusa.com or call 865-448-IRIS. Iris Networks, a Tennessee business connecting Tennessee businesses. It's a new season, which means it's time to rep your team in new ways with gear from Game Time Sidekicks. Rep the Vols with every sip with a new tie-dye tumbler or bottle. They also have a new NFL Players Association product line, so you can support your favorite VFL on Sundays. Want to put your own flair on a tumbler? Game Time Sidekicks has you covered with options to add your own text or even a monogram on the back of your favorite team tumbler. To check out everything that Game Time Sidekicks has to offer, go to GameTimeSidekicks.com. Carry your team with Game Time Sidekicks. Top 100 barbecue restaurant Dead End Barbecue is a no-brainer when you are craving the smoky flavor of quality Q. Dead End makes it easy to enjoy their fantastic menu with online ordering from Chow Now for pickup. Or if you don't feel like leaving the house, then have Dead End Barbecue delivered right to your door by Loco Knoxville or Bite Squad. There is no better restaurant in town to enjoy the madness of March with. Cheer on the Vols and the Lady Vols with the best barbecue around. Check them out online at deadendbbq.com. Dead End Barbecue. The search is over.
Hey there, Swain Event listeners. I'm excited to share my new Keller Williams Realty app so you can tour homes without leaving yours. Not only can you search for homes in specific areas and neighborhoods, you can also have access to real-time market snapshots on stats like average home price and days on market, plus commute times from your office, school zones, and much more. Download my app today and get the most accurate information on buying, selling, and investing in real estate in your area. Just search for the Keller Williams Realty app and click on More in the lower right-hand corner. Type in Jennifer Morris in the Your Agent search bar, then save and you're set. And as always, feel free to reach out at 865-257-7897 or email me at jennifermorris865@gmail.com.
You don't have to take an L just because you can't listen to the Swain Event live. You can catch up on the podcast posted daily on the app, online, and on iTunes.
Get to the phones. The Irish Networks hotline this morning. Swain Event fueled by Dead End Barbecue. Let's get to Tony, who's calling from Kingsport. Feeling good there in Tri-Cities.
Oh, yes, sir. Hello. Thank you for taking my call. I first want to say thank you for your show. I don't get to call in much anymore, but I do love listening to you guys, and you guys are doing such a great job, and adding the extra content is just something that I appreciate so much, so thank you very much.
Bro, I appreciate you, man.
First off, I wanted to say something about like all the transfers that left. I was watching the games because I wanted to see how much did we actually lose, And honestly, none of them actually shot out to me. So that was one of the things, and most of them got hurt, unfortunately, for them. But, I mean, it seemed like that everybody was already saying, oh, we're going to be so terrible because we lost. But I didn't see them do anything special. So I'm not that heartbroken over it.
I mean, Henry looked pretty good for Alabama.
Yeah.
Oh, that's low-hanging fruit, man. I'm sorry, but Alabama is Alabama.
No, but he looked good on that team. I ain't talking about I'm not talking about the team success, but he actually looked good on that team.
Yeah, true.
And
Todd Chandler looked really good too.
I thought Key Lawrence looked good for Oklahoma. Almost got ejected for a targeting, and the fact that they even reviewed the hit that he delivered is blasphemous. I mean, it was an amazing hit. What you're taught to do, and was shoulder pad to shoulder pad, and because the quarterback's helmet came off, they thought it was targeting, so they threw the flag and reviewed it. But Key Lawrence looked good. But for the most part, you're right, Tony, and I agree with you. Guys didn't necessarily make an impact elsewhere. Jameer Johnson, second on the depth chart at A&M. Wanya Morris, second on the depth chart at Oklahoma. Eric Gray, I mean, he wasn't the first team back on Saturday. Didn't have a standout performance. I'll tell you what, I turned on the Northwestern Michigan State game when I got home from Carnes Powell.
Crouch.
And the first player that made a play was Crouch in the backfield.
Crouch doing his thing.
Crouch looked well. So it's amazing what Jeremy Banks and Henry T. and Kavaris Crouch can do when they actually have a linebackers coach.
Very true. So getting to my next question, and this is where I'm going to lead off here. When did Milton come in? Was it June? He wasn't here for the spring game, and he came in June.
Right after spring game.
I think he got here in May for the mini-term.
Okay, so a lot of people are sitting here dogging Milton about his play and stuff like that. And there's a couple of things about this. First off, he did just get here. And for someone to go to a whole different team, learn a whole new offense, that takes a lot of intelligence, football IQ. So is he going to be perfect coming straight out? No. Do we want him to be? Yeah, because we're Tennessee fans. But he's not going to be. He did miss some open throws. That'll get fine-tuned. I'm not worried about that. The thing about it is I've been in Neyland on the field during like a halftime back in the day. It's disorienting. Now, if you've never been in Neyland or played in Neyland, it is a disorienting feel because there's so many people in the crowd, and that could be a factor too. So he just has to realign and focus on the field itself and put all the rest out. That's what I think. I think he's going to be fine. And I'll hang up.
I just think it's too early to make any like big time takes about Joe Milton. I mean, I saw some good things. I saw some things that need to be corrected. I mean, that's what I saw. Like, I think a lot of people are just harping on the bad, and I saw some things that can be fixed that physically he can do. Like, it'd be one thing if, like, I remember 2013, we opened the season, and Justin Worley, led the team to a victory, but there were some throws that he was inaccurate on. And this is why it was an open quarterback battle going into Florida week. So you won the game, but Justin just wasn't as accurate. Didn't throw guys open. Guys had to come back for the ball. But physically, he just didn't have it. Like, that was who he was physically. Well, Joe missed some throws. Physically, we know he could do better. That was just mental. That was just, hey, first game of the season, or I just missed this, or I was just, maybe my adrenaline was running and I got locked in on one receiver. Those are fixable. Those are fixable issues. Justin Worley stuff was not fixable because his arm was limited. Physically, he was limited. So I just don't feel like some of the other folks out here that think the sky's falling from one game against Bowling Green. Now, if this is who he is mid-season, then that's another conversation, but we're not there yet, and we may not get there.
Well, there's been a common theme with those who are going too far with the Milton slander, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word off the top of my head. they all want Harrison Bailey to play. So that incentivizes them to go a little over the top. And time will tell whether Josh Heupel made the right decision to start Joe Milton and to not start Harrison Bailey.
He made the right decision today.
Yes, I do agree.
Because Joe Milton looks like the best quarterback for this team, and he's better. He looked the best. Like he made the right decision.
Second
today.
straight coaching staff that.
Yeah. All right. I'm going.
But that's why you're seeing a little. At least I've noticed that those who are going a little too far, because Joe Milton does deserve some criticism for his performance against Bowling Green. It was underwhelming.
For sure.
It was. But to act as if he's just some horrific quarterback or the quarterback that just left is just over the top through game one. Let's see how he plays against Pittsburgh. Let's see how he plays against Florida, because he will be the starting quarterback for those games unless he just absolutely bombs out against Pittsburgh. And I don't see him bombing out against Pittsburgh.
No. CJ Vol says Joe is limited if he can't throw an accurate ball as well. Listen to me, CJ. I need you to listen. Physically, he is not limited. Those are fixable issues that happened in the first game. The comparison to Justin Worley was they were not fixable because he physically was who he was. He didn't have the arm strength. He didn't have the athletic ability. So Joe Milton issues are fixable. That's the difference between Joe Milton and Justin Worley. That's what I said. That's what I said, CJ Vol. But it doesn't matter if he continues to play like he did against Bowling Green. Again, this is just one game. One game. If we're having this conversation 5 and 6 games out, then this is another conversation. But this is one game. Casual Vol says Crouch looked good. Yeah, Crouch did look good. It looked like he was in better shape. Didn't look like he was thinking too much, just reacting. So I'm happy. I'm happy for Kavaris Crouch. I really like Crouch. Let's see here. CJ Vol says we can't say Harbaugh's ruined when he comes here and does the same thing. Again, just one game, and we haven't seen Harbaugh develop any other quarterback since he's been in Michigan. So it's one game, and we'll see if that's Joe Milton. That's just him, and that's there's no other there's not another version of Joe Milton. But again, CJ Vol, it was one game. Let's see what happens.
And what I said
let's see what happens, CJ Vol.
What I said was that Joe Milton may be that same guy. That is something to monitor, but I was willing to give him a little bit of grace to start the season because Jim Harbaugh has not had success with a quarterback at Michigan.
Yeah.
He might be the same guy. He may, it just maybe is what it is for Joe Milton at this point in his career. But again, I'm willing to not close the book on him until he gets a couple more games under his belt.
Vol Goose says, was Elijah Simmons' success just because we were playing Bowling Green? Do you think he really made that big of a step forward? He looked good. I think he made, I won't say that big of a step forward because you do realize he's playing against a freshman walk-on center. But for him to be starting, Rodney Garner saying, yes, you are my starter, when that was a surprise for pretty much everyone that's covered Tennessee football this fall camp. Yes, he is developing. He's getting better. He is making that step forward. We'll know a lot more against Pittsburgh, but he was going up against a freshman walk-on center in Bowling Green. So you don't want to take anything away from him, but you also want to be able to, provide that context and tell the whole entire story. Let's go back to the phones, and let's get to...
We've got Dave Tona and Justin in Florida.
Dave Tona! Man, Ben was waiting on your phone call all day, buddy.
2 Vol fans in the state of Florida, back to back.
That's right.
Hey, listen. Number one, I'm super surprised when I at 7 o'clock, I, turned on the Swain Event, and you guys were there. I didn't think y'all would be on today, but that's very good. Nice surprise.
It's football season.
No days off during football season. We get it out the mud.
Yeah, it's football season, Dave Toner. Come on now.
Keep it a buck.
Well, anyways, people really need to chill out with this quarterback crap talk already. One game already. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I said all I was going to say on that today.
Who we play our third game?
Tennessee Tech.
Okay. So my suggestion is everybody just needs to zip a lip, give him Pitt, give him Tennessee Tech, and then evaluate. But give the dude at least 3 games.
I'm with you. I'd take it a step further, and I'd give him through the Florida game. And I say that just because, I mean, Tennessee Tech, you're not going to learn a ton from the Tennessee Tech game. But with Pitt, with Florida, I think those are 2 games that you can more than likely make a really fair assessment on Joe Milton about.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they're going to make an assessment, you make it before the Florida game. Because if he doesn't show out against Tennessee Tech and Pitt, he's not going to show out against Florida. I'm going to hang up and listen.
Thank you, Dave Toner. Good to hear from you. Let's get to Josh in Florida.
Justin in Florida.
Oh, I say Josh. My bad, Justin. My bad. Youth and experience.
Man, God, you already changed my name?
I know. I'm sorry, man. I was thinking about you being, in Florida, but then in Knoxville, and I just had a brain fart, man. Excuse me.
It's all good. I'm just glad I got to follow Dave Tona. He's on the other coast.
I thought y'all was hanging out and y'all called together.
He's on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast.
Gotcha.
Yeah, man. I think
Homo brag.
I think everyone kind of needs to just pump the brakes and kind of let this play out. And I know why everyone feels the way they do. It's kind of that battered ball syndrome and what we've gone through with QB and everything. I just think, it may take time. And I called in before the game and said, I expect a little bit of a sloppier game. It's that first time out there and running live and in front of, a lot of fans and everything. But, I think wanting to make a switch this quick is very premature. And I'm going to, as painful as this is to point out, I mean, what if we apply that same mentality to other positions? And what I mean by that is, Jalen Hyatt didn't have a great night. I think we can all agree on that, or at least not a night we're accustomed to. Does that mean, we should pull him out of the lineup and stick him on the bench? No. I mean, sometimes, you want guys to do well right off the bat, and it just doesn't play out like that. So let's see what adjustments are made. Let's see how things progress. I mean, that first throw from Milton, from the sidelines, I thought it was in the stands. I mean, he was just, geeked up and just threw it way too far. So I think it's going to take time to get comfortable with some of the receivers, but I expect there to be improvements against Pitt. Would you say that's fair?
No, I agree. I'm just really careful about making these sweeping generalizations off from just one game. I mean, Sam Howell is a Heisman Trophy candidate, will be a potential first-round pick at quarterback, and he threw 3 interceptions in his first game and only 1 touchdown.
He looked terrible.
He was terrible. He was absolutely terrible. But that was one game, and I don't care what he did, the year before, if he was good or bad. I'm looking at what he's doing this year in one game. Like, he had a bad game, but I'm not sitting here saying that North Carolina should to bench him and he's the worst thing ever and he this or that. He just had a bad game. And good players, they bounce back, and let's see if Joe can do that. And let's give him the opportunity to do that, along with his receivers, who also didn't have a good game.
Right, and I think a lot of this, a lot of fans would say, oh, yeah, but, look at what happened at Michigan. And you know something? That's a very fair assessment. I just, to your point, Swain, I think he's actually got someone that's going to develop him at quarterback and make changes. So let's see if the the staff can do that. And some of the things that maybe, Milton needs to work on might take more than one season. I mean, you also have to look at that. I mean, throwing the ball with a little bit more air under it and touch, I mean, that's not something you could possibly correct in 17 practices. So, the coaches know what they're doing. And, I've been very cautious in saying that I expect there to be a lot of improvement versus Pitt, and hopefully things look a little tighter. But thanks for the time, guys. Talk to you soon.
And one, like we didn't see those throws where he had plenty of touch. Fall camp. You mentioned that earlier, Ben. Like we saw him throw deep passes to the Hyatts and to the Velases of the world and show that touch. But I guess it doesn't matter unless you do it in the game. And he needs to do that. He needs to transfer his play from the practice field to the game field. Anyways, let's go to the text box. I do not want to get hung up on the quarterback talk.
Too late.
Golly, man. It's
going to be that way until Tennessee has a bona fide stud back there.
Man, it's like a rabbit hole.
Although Tennessee had Casey Clausen and Josh Dobbs, who I characterized as bona fide studs, and it was still a conversation then.
Yeah, that's true. Any news on Byron Young, and how do you think the defense will perform this week with getting a good pass rush against a pretty decent offensive line that Pitt has? Will we have to bring an extra guy to get pressure? Thanks, guys. Well, I know Tennessee is trying to appeal, but the verdict initially was Bryant Young was going to miss 2 games. I have not heard anything has changed, so it looks like he's going to be sitting down for this one. You hate that.
He's still trying to appeal.
Yeah, you hate that because he's Tennessee's best pass rusher. But
they could use him against a veteran quarterback.
There's other capable guys that can get to the passer. Roman Harrison, Tyler Barron, and Tyler Barron did a really good job doing that in the first game. But again, that was against Bowling Green. I think we do have the guys. Will we get that performance? Will we get guys in the backfield? Are we able to get pressure on the quarterback without blitzing? That would be the perfect best case and scenario. Get pressure on the quarterback with your front four, and then because you have a quarterback that is mobile, being able to assign a linebacker to account for his ability to use his legs. Ben said this earlier too. There's a question about the potential playmakers on the outside around Pitt's quarterback. Pickett, he's really good. He's their best player. Tennessee can't allow the other players around him, the receivers, to have career days or even have average days. Those guys, I think, are pretty average. But make sure they play average. Don't let them come in here and have a career day against us and give Kenny Pickett easy targets by running open. So if we can get pressure with the front four, then we'll be in a good shape. I think this game really comes down to the defensive linemen.
Yes, I do as well. I do as well because that's what concerns me most about this game for Tennessee. On a Monday, haven't dove into Pitt a ton. Very familiar with Pitt's roster because I keep up with it throughout the offseason, or did so in preparing for the season. But on a Monday, what worries me the most is just the simple fact that they have a veteran quarterback, and Tennessee's defense isn't completely established yet.
Got a veteran secondary, and that's about it. All we can say.
Yeah, for sure. And they do have a veteran offensive line, as we mentioned earlier in the show. From left to right, it's senior, 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 junior, senior. I may have thrown one too many seniors in there because I started with the tight end, but even including the tight end, senior tight end, and then left tackle, left guard, center are seniors. The right guard is a junior, and then the right tackle is a senior. And even the right guard, Jake Cradle, he has a senior, a COVID senior listed behind him, and Keldrick Wilson. So 6 seniors up front along the offensive line. But again, I guess it depends on how you view that. They return everybody. They have a lot of experience, but it wasn't an offensive line that was very good last season. So it may be a bad thing for Pitt that it is returning. It wasn't necessarily like a horrific offensive line, but it wasn't good by any stretch of the imagination either when you look at the stats.
Man, where'd you find them game notes, man? I was on Google, Bing, I was on there, AOL.com. I was everywhere trying to find those game notes, man. Pittsburgh's website had me all confused and dazed.
Big Ben hooked me up.
My goodness, man. It must help being a Steelers fan. You get that inside access.
Juju helped me out.
Hour 3 is coming up here on the Swain Event. Stay with us. Be right back.
For what is coming up on the Swain Event.
We're here with Dr. Michael Carlson of Tennessee Regenerative Sports Medicine to discuss PRP, platelet-rich plasma. If you have orthopedic injuries such as shoulder pain, knee pain, Achilles tendonitis, or tennis elbow, you should give them a call.
Good to be back, Jason. We specialize in non-surgical orthopedics, so we treat damaged tendons, ligaments, and joints, including rotator cuff injuries, knee injuries, and elbow and foot problems by using ultrasound-guided injections with PRP. And this form of treatment helps stimulate the body's own reparative process and assist in the healing of damaged tissue.
Doc, what makes your training different than others?
I've been practicing in Knoxville for over 26 years, and I'm certified in interventional regenerative orthopedic medicine through the American Academy of Orthopedic Medicine. They've been the leader in this form of treatment since 1983. I also teach this form of treatment on a national and international basis to other physicians, residents, and medical students. Here in our clinic, I'm the one doing the procedure, and we're using your own PRP, which are concentrated platelets, to treat your injury. So in other words, Jason, it comes from you and it goes back to you. So you know exactly what you're getting and know exactly the level of training involved.
Do what the pros, college athletes, and I have done, and visit them online at trsportsmedicine.com. Tennessee Regenerative Sports Medicine, East Tennessee's leader in PRP therapy.
Hour 3 of the Swain Event is brought to you by the Low T Center and lowtcenter.com. Do you know your numbers? Feel like you again. Let us help.
Guys, your health right now is more important than ever. I recommend Low T Center. That's where I get my levels checked. It all starts with the annual wellness exam where they do a comprehensive health assessment exclusively for men, making it quick and easy to take care of your health. And now they offer monitored self-inject at-home testosterone treatment. Most insurance is accepted. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book your appointment and make your health a priority. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare. Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. Firms from Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham have stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local law firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. They are our neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
More and more Tennessee businesses are switching to Iris Networks for reliable, local, high-quality, high-speed business fiber internet. Iris provides direct internet access from 10 megs to 10 gigs with no payments for 90 days. Iris also offers next-generation business phones with work from anywhere capability from the mobile or laptop app. With local sales, support, and service, Iris is a partner in the community. Learn more at irisnetworkusa.com or call 865-448-IRIS. Iris Networks, a Tennessee business connecting Tennessee businesses.
Hour 3 of the Swain Event is brought to you by the Low T Center and lowtcenter.com. Do you know your numbers? Feel like you again. Let us help.
Mm-hmm. 嗯。
865-255-03 is our telephone number to the Irish Networks hotline. Hiller is offering credits for your old systems. You can trade in your old HVAC system and earn up to $1,500 towards a new Select system. Also, you can upgrade from a standard tankless water heater standard water heater and get a new tankless water heater with Hiller and earn up to $500 with that trade. Also, electrical panel, you can trade that in and you will receive a $500 credit for your old one. That is happyhiller.com, happy you'll be, or the service is free. Go back to the text box that we start hour number 3 here on this program, which is powered by Low T Center and lowtcenter.com.
Laboring on Labor Day.
That's right. Yeah, sitting here watching Pitt, UMass, and if Pittsburgh wins, it's going to be because of Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, I agree. You made that comment during the break, like, yeah, he's going to be a problem. And I agree with you. You said it as he was running a read option. He made a great read and scampered down the middle of the field, kind of made the edge guy miss and got downfield 15, 20 yards. What gives me hope in that particular instance, because I had this thought during the break I didn't tell you, is that Jaquan Blakely, Matthew Butler, Tyler Barron, those will be the guys on the edge. I do find some comfort in that. From an experience standpoint with Butler and Blakely, they should be able to contain him and not allow him to gain the edge, at least funnel him back up the middle and allow Big Elijah to eat or whoever's there in the middle. And, I mean, a guy like Tyler Barron, he's going to be way more athletic than that UMass edge defender to make that play. But still, he is going to be a problem. The two things that worry me most about this game is Kenny Pickett, veteran quarterback, talented. That is a concern. Just going up against a veteran quarterback anytime, anywhere is always concerning to me. And then, I mean, I've said this for a couple weeks now. It's a Pat Narduzzi coach football team, and I think Pat Narduzzi is a really good football coach. And I think Pittsburgh's going to be well coached. I think they'll be coached up well. I think they'll have a good game plan, a good scheme, and good idea of what they want to accomplish going into the game to slow down Tennessee. That's what worries me. Veteran quarterback, a Pat Narduzzi coach team. Those are my two biggest concerns going into the week, because Tennessee's going to have more talent, natural talent, natural athleticism. But who plays better fundamental football? Who shoots himself in the foot less? That's who's going to win this game, because I know Pitt came out as a 1.5 point favorite yesterday. In my eyes, it's a pick 'em, and kind of just whoever. I mean, this is stating the obvious, being Captain Literal here, but whoever plays better on Saturday wins the game. And to expand on that comment, since there's
all right, Trent Dilfer,
Alabama can play its C game and beat Miami playing its A game. So Alabama could
not lose games in the NFL and still win.
Yep, that's right, Trent. Alabama can get away, and it's not just Alabama. There are other teams that can get away, depending on its opponent, that can get away without playing its best football. But in a game like this, where it's truly a toss-up, neither team can get away with self-inflicted wounds. They both have to play near perfect football if they're going to beat the other team.
There you go, Ben. There you go. So this game reminds me of Tennessee, BYU in 2019, because they have a quarterback that kind of is the straw that makes everything go, that stirs the drink. And, like, Pickett's not as good as Zach Wilson, don't get me wrong. But, like, Zach Wilson made everything go for BYU. And I think Pickett is the same here as we're watching, and he runs again for another first down. You look at Zach Pickett's – not Zach Pickett, but you look at Kenny Pickett's numbers from last year. He only had 13 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. The year before that, he had 13 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. So there's not a huge distance between his touchdowns and interceptions, but he is the undoubted leader. He is calm. He can use his legs. He's tough. He's tough as nails. But this game reminds me so much of the BYU game because entering this game, you're like, come on, man, our talent should overwhelm BYU.
Historically, Tennessee should overwhelm BYU, overwhelm Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, like from a talent standpoint, you have more talent than Pittsburgh. And the way you lose games like this is missing opportunities. We missed a couple, throws and deep passes. But games like this, it goes back to you versus you. Like Tennessee in the BYU game, we had 418 yards. We rushed the football for 242 yards, Ben. 242 yards. We had 5 yards per play, picked up 20 first downs. We were efficient on third down. We ran 17 more plays than BYU last year. Time of possession, we had plus 7 minutes. Like, everything about the stat sheet points to Tennessee winning. But it's like the little things inside of a game that doesn't show up on the stat sheet that Tennessee kind of hurt themselves on and didn't take advantage of opportunities. I look at this game the same way. We cannot lose a turnover margin. Matter of fact, it'd be great if we won the turnover margin by 2 or so, at least by 1, but win the turnover margin. Time of possession, that don't even matter anymore for us because we won't be the winners in that whether we lose or win because our style of play. But efficient on third down, taking care of business in the special teams game, and not allowing hidden field position. Like if you play your best and Pitt plays their best, Tennessee should still win this game because of the talent.
Well, what concerns me is quarterback play. I think going into the game, Pitt has the advantage because Kenny Pickett is more established. Joe Milton has more talent, natural talent, no doubt. Mm-hmm. But Kenny Pickett right now is just a better quarterback, a better passer per se. Joe Milton has the better tools as a quarterback, but that doesn't mean that you're just a great passer if you can't piece it together. And Kenny Pickett is the better passer. And you bring up the BYU game, and I mean it's just like the BYU game in 19, the last year's Kentucky game at home. Like Tennessee showed well in these other areas, except quarterback play. And not bringing this up to harp on Jarrett Gantano, but in that 19 BYU game in the first half, Tennessee should have been up at halftime by multiple touchdowns, but JG missed multiple open receivers in that first half, and it really slowed the offense despite some other things that it was doing really well, running the football, playing good defense, containing Zach Wilson. If you watch that tape of Zach Wilson, I mean, he looked good against Tennessee, but I mean, he didn't look number 2 overall.
No.
In the draft good. So Tennessee did really good things.
He was young then too when he played.
Yes. And late in the game, Alante did have a mental breakdown. Tennessee secondary had a mental breakdown and couldn't get anything going in overtime. But the quarterback position cost Tennessee that football game. The quarterback position cost Tennessee the Kentucky game last year where Tennessee was running the ball well. JG was doing a great job of just checking it down and letting Eric Gray or Ty Chandler, whoever, pick up 8, 10, 12 yards and then get down into the red zone, and he, instead of continuing to take what the defense was giving him, try to make too big of a play, and it resulted in pick 6 and another interception as well. The defense was keeping Kentucky in check, so can Joe Milton also take a step forward? That's going to be a big question mark for this football game as well. Can Joe Milton take a step forward, because his performance against Bowling Green isn't going to be good enough against Pittsburgh?
Yeah, in that BYU game, Ben, Tennessee lost the turnover margin. So you mentioned that pick 6 that happened against BYU. Total yards, I mean, you almost had 100 yards more than BYU. Had more first downs. time of possession. I mean, you dominated every stat except for turnover margin. And that will get you beat in games like this when you have more talent, because Tennessee does have more talent. Depth, we know that's a concern, but more talent, more speed. You beating yourselves will be the reason why I think Tennessee loses this game. But, man, Tennessee had, control there at the beginning against BYU. Was up 13-3 at one point, and then just never just put their foot on the neck, never just put the game away. Allow BYU to hang around until the fourth quarter, and then they kicked that field goal to tie it up and went to overtime, and then took the game over there and won. So this game reminds me so much of that BYU game. Yes, I'm saying that the defensive line, this is a game about them, showing why the SEC is different. The SEC is different from every other conference because of the defensive line play. Something that Heupel has talked about when he was asked about the difference between SEC and other conferences. It's the defensive line play. It's the defensive linemen who are big, strong, but they're also fast and quick. It's going to come down to those guys, but just like every other game, especially in modern football, it's going to come to the quarterback position too. Joe Milton, take care of the football and hitting wide open layups that can be splash plays for a touchdown or just splash plays that move the chain. So I'm looking at the defensive line play. Obviously, Joe Milton's play is going to be extremely important too.
Yep, and Vol fan makes a good point here on the text box that the difference between Tennessee versus Pitt and Tennessee versus BYU is that we now have coaches that make in-game adjustments. I loved hearing Heupel talk yesterday, I'm assuming on the Josh Heupel show, the debut of the Josh Heupel show, about making halftime adjustments. Every time Pruitt was asked about halftime adjustments, he always said they don't make adjustments. They just need to execute the game plan better. That is true, and I thought you saw Tennessee come out of half against Bowling Green and make halftime adjustments. For some reason, Tennessee went away from the run there in the second quarter, and it kind of stymied the offense, got them out of rhythm because the running game is slow them down, stop them.
I need to use that. I need to start using that more. Stymied.
Because those first two possessions that Tennessee scored on back-to-back, it was because Joe Milton was able to feed off the run game.
Mm-hmm. Hot knife through butter, man. It was surgical.
Then they went away from it there in the second quarter, trying to throw the ball and also getting behind the sticks early on into possession. So it stymied the offensive flow there. And then they come out in the third quarter, their first possession, and what do? They run the football, and they march right down the field and score. So, again, we kind of had this conversation last week about maybe what we learned on Friday morning about this football team and trying to determine what this football team is. Or maybe it was a conversation we had at VolQuest. I don't know. I talk a lot of different places, as do you. It's hard to keep up where all the conversations happen. It was on the VolQuest post-game podcast. What we're going to learn about Tennessee, like their identity as an offense moving forward, like what is it? And I think we learned in the opener, and I'll be curious to hear your thoughts on this, that for as much as we hear about the passing game in this offense, I think we learned that this particular team is going to go as the running game goes. This is a running team, and Tennessee's going to have to build off the running game.
I think Josh Heupel could have said, all right, obviously they can't stop us running the football, and we can continue to run the football and still beat this team down. But this is why you play teams like this, like Bowling Green, so you can work on stuff. Like Tennessee could have beat Bowling Green by 40 if they just continued to run the football. But what will you learn about yourself in the passing game? Not much if you don't do it. So I'm glad that what happened in the first game. It's about winning the game and having correctable film. And I would rather have a high volume of mistakes in the first game than any other game of the season. So I'm glad that it happened in a win against Bowling Green even though, yes, I wanted to score 70, and yes, I want the receivers to play better and the quarterback to deliver the football better, whatever. But it's good that it happened in the first game, so that way you can correct it, because you really didn't have to throw the football. You had 2 running backs go for 100 yards. You didn't have to throw the ball. I felt like they was doing it just because. Let's try to work on it. Let's try to work on it.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it's kind of the double-edged sword of being vanilla, because, like, yeah, you don't want to show Pitt and Florida some things on tape, but you also kind of want to work on those things, don't you?
Yeah.
You don't want the first time you roll out a particular run scheme to be against Pitt and it falls flat on its face. Maybe you run it out against Bowling Green and it's not executed perfectly or the way it's intended, and then you can go back and fix it, and then you go into Pitt with that run scheme fixed and ready to go. It's an interesting conversation when you think about the thought process of being vanilla, so you don't put things on tape, but then you also run the risk of doing things for the first time against better competition, where if it doesn't work out, then you're really in a sticky situation.
Let me hit up our messages on our video live stream here. Todd Loveday says, "Am I the only one tired of hearing everyone complain about quarterback play? We ran our offense on 2 drives and pulled back. Everything else was deep ball, loose in the secondary, running the football." Danny says, "Happy Labor Day, gentlemen. Hope you have a great day." Thank you, Danny. Robert says, "Ben, Pitt is as good as most of the SEC. If Milton does not play better, they will beat Tennessee."
Fair comment.
Yep.
They're definitely better than Vandy.
Yeah. Bowling Green better than Vandy. Todd Loveday says, "Expect us to work the outside more often against Pitt. We toured Bowling Green working the outside and then went away from it. I expect Milton to get the ball in his playmakers' hands quick and let them make plays." MXER351 says, "Harrison's already accurate at hitting open receivers."
He is on
just like JG. We kept making excuses for JG, which kept us from moving forward for multiple years. So he's having that. He's making that point off one football game. Cool, awesome. What do you guys think of the coaching in terms of when Joe drops back and stands flat-footed? I think that will be talked about. From everything I've seen from quarterback development, quarterbacks tend to have their feet moving at all times. That is a question maybe that gets asked Josh Heupel this week, and I love to see what Josh Heupel has to say.
Harrison's issue isn't accuracy; it's not being able to push the ball down the field and not being able to process things quickly. 2 traits that Josh Heupel, offensive coordinator Alex Golish, and quarterbacks coach Joey Halzle all harped on all fall camp long, that you got to be able to process things quickly. You got to be able to throw the ball vertically and push the ball downfield. And as a bonus, it's nice if you can make some plays with your legs as well. And those are the 3 question marks with Harrison's game right now. I don't think Harrison's a statue, but Joe Milton and Hendon Hooker are better at scrambling around and making more out of their legs. Whether or not Harrison can push the ball down the field at a high level consistently is a huge question mark right now, and that is, in my opinion, the biggest thing that's keeping him off the field or behind on the depth chart. And then the being able to process things quickly aspect is also something that he is trying to grasp, and that's a product of him being young and having really unfortunate situations last year. Just the whole coaching staff in general under Pruitt, the whole culture, but also having to quarantine twice back-to-back and not really practicing throughout fall camp. I mean, Harrison has been set back in that department, unfortunately, and Joey Halzle, he talked about that the last time he met with the media, that he's still trying to learn to process things quickly. So it's not accuracy that's holding Harrison Bailey back. He can complete passes within that intermediate to short range. It's the pushing the ball down the field and processing things quickly that you have to do in this offense if you're going to be successful, and he hasn't demonstrated that yet.
Well said. Robert says, folks, Pitt is not Bowling Green. They will shut down most of the running game if we cannot pass. Pitt is as good as Kentucky, and yes, they can beat us. I don't know about Pitt being as good as Kentucky, but yes, Pitt is not Bowling Green, and we need to be balanced for sure and be a threat throwing the football. So I agree with most of that. I don't think that's as good as Kentucky. Jared says we beat Pitt by 3 touchdowns, 100. I don't know. We'll see. I hope. Selena says my house is divided, UT and Florida State. Mike Norvell is working his magic.
I like Mike Norvell. And how about Fuente? Speaking of former Memphis coaches, finally showing off why people were high on him. I was happy to see that because I wanted Tennessee to go after Fuente when they were hiring Pruitt, and it has not worked out for Fuente at Virginia Tech, and has made that take that I had look silly. So I was glad that Fuente put a little more stock back in there.
For sure. Kevin Piercy says Bailey's arm is not limited. No, it's not limited at Marietta. It's limited versus the other quarterbacks in the room. Here, in SEC football, it's limited compared to the other two. But Ben, I think you just mentioned what needs to be fixed with Bailey, so don't need to go back and harp on that. Michael Palmer says Mike Norvell would have won last night if he had played the right quarterback earlier. That's fair to say. Who knows? Who knows if Mckenzie Milton would have played that well? It's hard to say that. I mean, you get a small sample size. He played well, but, does he play that well if he played the whole entire game? Who knows? But I think it's fair to say that. I think Mckenzie Milton needs to be the starting quarterback next game, and I want to see what Florida State does when they have their next big test and see how they play. What do we think about Brian Kelly's execution joke? Yeah, it didn't come out. It didn't come out right. Simple as that. His team didn't execute the way he wanted them to do, and he tried to make a joke about him executing his team because they didn't execute, and it just came out wrong. And that's how I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I would not recommend he say that again or do it in the first play. And quick to point out that it's a joke from 1976. Well, it's 2021. It's not 1976 anymore.
Yeah, it was a little funky. I cringed a little bit, but I'm not here trying to fire the dude. Cancel him. I mean, he tried to.
He's a bad comedian.
Yeah, just didn't land the joke. That's all. Simple as that. Let's go back to the text box, and then we'll take a quick break. The bottom of the hour. Cape Dave says, I believe Coach Major has always said a team's greatest improvement during the season happens from game 1 to game 2. Let's see how it goes. That's right. Every coach has said that because it's just the truth. It's just the truth. Biggest improvement from your first season to your next season, freshman and sophomore year, and as a team, your best improvement, your most improvement and ground covered can be from your first game to your second game. And I anticipate that being the case this Saturday when Tennessee plays Pitt at noon. Hour 3, powered by Low T Center and lowtcenter.com. Stay with us. Be right back.
Swain Event is brought to you by the Low T Center and lowtcenter.com. Do you know your numbers? Feel like you again. Let us help.
It's a new season, which means it's time to rep your team in new ways with gear from Game Time Sidekicks. Rep the Vols with every sip with a new tie-dye tumbler or bottle. They also have a new NFL Players Association product line, so you can support your favorite VFL on Sundays. Want to put your own flair on a tumbler? Game Time Sidekicks has you covered with options to add your own text or even a monogram on the back of your favorite team tumbler. To check out everything that Game Time Sidekicks has to offer, go to GameTimeSidekicks.com. Carry your team with Game Time Sidekicks.
Is that as low as you can go? Okay, thank you. Hello, is that as low as you can go? Okay, thank you.
What are you doing?
Calling around to get the best rate on a car loan.
Why? Everyone knows Alcoa 10 is the best choice to purchase a vehicle or refinance your current loan. And with low interest rates and 90 days to your first payment, it's a no-brainer. You can even apply online and sign all the documents from the convenience of your home.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking.
Alcoa 10 Credit Union. It's so easy. Go to atfcu.com for details. Rates are dependent on credit score and equal housing lender.
When you start your own business, you know that branding can make or break a new venture. That's why Swain Event relies on 42nd Street. 42nd Street is a strategy agency focused on finding creative, open-minded, results-driven solutions to brand design. After over a decade of operations in East Tennessee, the brand architects at 42nd Street have the experience and creative know-how to ensure the success of your business branding, logo, web presence, and more. To see a real-life example of their amazing work, you can check out our website at swainevent.com. Don't trust the branding of your business to just anyone. Check out my friends at 42nd Street online at 42st.com or give them a call at 865-382-7007. 42nd Street, brand, strategy, design.
Top 100 barbecue restaurant Dead End Barbecue is a no-brainer when you are craving the smoky flavor of quality Q. Dead End makes it easy to enjoy their fantastic menu with online ordering from Chow Now for pickup. Or if you don't feel like leaving the house, then have Dead End Barbecue delivered right to your door by Loco Knoxville or Bite Squad. Cheer on your favorite team with the best barbecue around. Check them out online at deadendbbq.com. Dead End Barbecue. The search is over. If you want to get in on the conversation, call the Iris Networks hotline at 865-200-5503. Grow your business with Iris Networks high-speed fiber internet. irisnetworksusa.com.
Swain Event, SwainEvent.com, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. 865-255-03 is our telephone number. Tomorrow will be the second show, Tennessee Prime. That will take place at Gus's world famous fried chicken there on Sutherland Avenue. The show will start at 7 p.m. And tomorrow's guests will include Cade Mays, starting offensive tackle, and Tyon Evans, who had a big day in his debut as a Tennessee Volunteer. He went for over a buck as well as Jabari Small, but he had 116, just like Jabari Small, but his average was 7 yards per carry. Had a longer 21 on 16 carries, had a touchdown. But Tyon Evans showed why he's one of the best running backs in JUCO coming out this past season. Man, I like his game, man. Really shifty, can finish runs. And I like guys that can make people miss because the coaches can do only so much. They can draw up the plays, put you in positions to make the plays, but they can't make it for you. They, you gotta make somebody miss. You gotta be a playmaker. And Tyon Evans did a really great job of doing that. I like his wiggle. I like his ability to make guys miss in space. Quick feet, very shifty, low to the ground. I like Tyon Evans, and he's another guy, Ben, that committed to Tennessee without ever taking a visit. There's a couple guys on this squad that's did that or that's done that, and that is Cedric Tillman, Tyon Evans, Caleb Tremblay, Chase McCraft. Like all these guys were like, "Hey, y'all need a player."
And most of that was because of COVID. Tillman, obviously, just a weird circumstance, but those other guys that you mentioned were because of COVID, couldn't get to a game.
Well, I mean, they didn't even take a visit.
Right.
I
Well,
mean,
you don't have to. Game, that's what I meant.
Yeah, you don't even have to go to a game to take a visit. Come to campus, look coach in the eye. I mean, they just committed and came on to Tennessee without taking a visit. So that's pretty cool, man. That speaks to the strength of this conference. Because talking to those two guys last night, McGrath and Tremblay, especially Tremblay, it was about playing in the SEC, and there was a connection with Trey Johnson, who's a Tennessee grad, but he worked at USC in recruiting office. And when he came to Tennessee, he brought some of those guys with him. As we're watching Pitt, and it's 13-0. And
who is this big tight end, and who on Tennessee is going to guard him?
Number 7?
Yes, he has stood out more than anybody other than the quarterback.
It don't look like he went out for a pass or.
Well, he had just caught a pass, and he caught
slow.
a couple different passes.
He's slow. But their receiver, number 11, just dropped a wide-open touchdown. So, the help on the outside for Pickett is a little suspect. But
hey, that tight end may be slow, but we saw how Tennessee's personnel defended tight ends last year.
Yeah, Crouch wasn't good at defending tight ends last year. But I'm sure he's better now.
But again, I'm
coach.
Kind of like I said with Harbaugh, willing to give players that come out of that system grace. I'm willing to give the defensive players under Pruitt and that staff last year
for sure
grace as well. But that tight end is a big old boy and made a couple of nice catches so far. It'll be interesting to see how Pittsburgh uses him. But I was going to throw in this little tidbit on Tyon Evans.
6'6", 260.
Looks all of it too.
Lucas Kroll.
Wait, did he transfer from Florida?
I don't know.
That name sounds familiar.
You sure he didn't transfer from Tennessee?
No, he transferred from Florida.
Lucas Kroll. You mean tell me he couldn't play starting tight end at Florida last year?
He looked familiar. Yep, transferred from Florida last year. So this is his second year at Pittsburgh. He was at Florida. Gosh, he has played so many different places. He was a JUCO kid, 17, 18, played baseball for Jefferson College in Missouri during the 17-18 season. Didn't even play football until he got to Florida in 2018, 2019. Played 25 games over 2 seasons for the Gators, caught 9 passes for 108 yards, and then enrolled last year as a graduate transferred at Pittsburgh and participated in abbreviated spring drills, was limited to 1 game due to injury.
So he's just not really playing football.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like Brady Quinn coming from the volleyball sand.
Brady Quinn or Woody Quinn?
Not Brady Quinn. Woody Quinn. Woody Quinn.
Yeah, he's like, except this guy, played baseball and was drafted in the 34th round by the Giants. Feels a little bit different than like JUCO volleyball.
Hey man, still, you ain't play football, you ain't play tight end, just to not do it and go do it.
He just tried to be Jeff Samardzija.
Most of the time, it's tough to do, man. Just ask Tim Tebow.
That is for sure. But I was going to say this about Tyon Evans. You were talking about how he committed to Tennessee and signed with Tennessee, came to Tennessee without ever being to Tennessee before. I thought it was cool that when he met with the media this fall, he said that despite all that, just in the first couple of months of being at Tennessee, that he's already decided that he wants to raise his family here. That he loves Knoxville, loves East Tennessee, and that he wants to spend the rest of his life here and raise his family here. I thought that was pretty cool.
That is really cool. We can be neighbors, man. We got some houses around the corner.
Why? I would not put him through that because you won't even help him move in.
He got teammates. He don't need me.
You're all part of the brotherhood. So technically, y'all are all teammates.
I'm booked when it comes to moving, but his first day, I'll bring him a casserole. I'll be the best neighbor ever, man. But the moving part, nah, man, I'm booked. I ain't got time for that.
Yeah, he got 5 offensive linemen he can call.
Exactly.
But there you go. There's you some notes for you to use on Tennessee Prime tomorrow. You're welcome.
Thanks, Ben.
You're welcome.
I had no
Doing
idea.
your homework for you.
I didn't know what I was going to do without those notes, Ben. K. Mays, last week's Tennessee Prime mentioned that he prefers day games. He prefers days, games at noon or maybe at 3 o'clock because he doesn't like sitting and watching and waiting for a night game. Whereas I know for some fans, they prefer the night games because you can tailgate all day long. Those noon games, that means you got to get up early. The tailgate is not as long. We got breakfast for menu items. But the thing is, when you win that noon game, you can always tailgate afterwards and watch, some of the college football games that are on after the game. So you can tailgate afterwards if you really, really want to. So interesting note, K. Mays prefers playing in the day. I didn't necessarily prefer playing day games unless they were against inferior opponents. I wanted to play the Floridas and the Georgias and the Alabamas, and I like to play those games at night because I like to get the crowd into it. I love that atmosphere.
Yeah, that was something that always stood out to me about Derek Barnett. I remember, I think it was the SEC Network did a feature on him, and where's the broadcast? I don't know. He did not like playing the night games because he did not like sitting around waiting to play football all day. He wanted to play football so bad that he couldn't stand waiting until nighttime to play. So I always found that interesting and not really surprising that Cade feels the same way. Dudes that just simply love playing football, they don't want to sit around all day and wait to play. If I were a player, I would prefer the atmosphere of a night game just in terms of simply playing a game. I'd want to play it as soon as possible. But I was also the type that, like, I would sit around school all day and think about that night's game. Like, not like anxious in a bad way, but just like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. I couldn't focus on anything else. I was just ready to play.
Yeah, I understand, sitting around and not. There's a period, like when you wake up in the morning, you have your breakfast, you go to meetings, special teams meeting, individual meetings, and then team meetings. And then after you do all that stuff, you break out from your team meetings, and then you go back to your individual meetings, and you're going over, the plays that you're going to be running, going over formations and alignment, things like that. And then they set you free, and you get a couple hours just to get off your feet, go back to your hotel room. If you want to take a nap, you can do that. And then you watch other games. And that is the worst part, for sure. I understand that. CJ Vol is really active on the text box today and says that Krull, big old 6'6" tight end, is a NFL tight end for certain. And I don't – just because you're big don't make you an NFL tight end. I'm looking at Walter Kemp, WalterFootball.com, and he's not even listed as a top 20 tight end prospect. He's not even listed at 30 or 40. So he's just big, man. People out there just big for no reason. Big for no reason. But
Peters.
He's a big old boy.
Uros.
Stop. Uros is the best college teammate in America. It's different. It's different with Uros, but Uros is. At the beginning, Uros is big for no reason. But, like, they got Austin Pope here under other late round and undrafted free agent potential players. Don't look at me like that. I'm trying to find the Pitt tight end. I mean, he's not even listed on there. So, anyways, I'm going back to the phones.
We got C-Mac.
C-Mac, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How y'all living this morning?
Living great, man. Living great.
Great.
It's good seeing you Friday.
Oh yeah, man. We got a chance to see you, man. FaceTime.
Yes, that was that was really cool. You gotta love technology. You gotta love the camaraderie. It's good to see all y'all. See your face. Here soon. I'm sure I'll be hugging your neck. when I make my way up.
No.
I'm gonna hug you next.
Sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I'm gonna hug you next.
What day are you gonna be here?
We're still trying to figure that out.
All right, I'll be
things
booked.
first. Okay. Yeah, I know.
I'll be in Atlanta at the J. Cole concert.
When is that concert again? The 14th?
27th.
Oh, okay. No, I'm thinking October 14th is when he'll be out in Denver.
Hey man, you look good with your Urkel glasses.
I know Swain did not just call me.
You look smart. You look smart in your Urkel glasses. That's a compliment, man. They are Urkel glasses.
Why you do me like that, Swain?
Because you last week pointed out how I was shuffling all the papers when we were talking about a player being on the depth chart. You tried to instigate. You tried to instigate. You didn't think I was gonna remember that, huh? I remember. No. I caught you. You tried to instigate because I was just making a joke. I think it's about Aubrey Solomon not being in too deep. I was joking around, ruffling all the papers, and you tried to put me on the spot. So I'm putting you on the spot with your Urkel glasses.
I'm just saying, you ruffled like 50,000 pieces of paper just to find out he wasn't on the too deep.
Just jokes. Just jokes.
I know. It's just it's just joking. If you can't bust nobody up like this, to me that ain't real love. You know what I'm saying? So,
absolutely.
I'm always appreciative. So I wanted to call in on some foolishness
What's new?
today.
Are you washing dishes?
I know. Yeah. What did Brian Kelly say last night on TV?
He said that he need to execute his team, basically, because they didn't execute as well as he wanted them to. So it was a joke that didn't really come out right.
That ain't no joke. That ain't not in today's society.
Oh, I know.
That ain't no joke. So at what point is Mr. Kelly getting a pink slip?
Dude, he's not getting a pink slip. You do realize
How?
that a person died at one of his practices, and
he still made that comment.
He's still coaching, so he ain't going anywhere.
That didn't happen. You always see him, or before he was taking anger management classes, you always see him, yelling, screaming, and now all those classes done is channel his anger into intelligent words that still is out of context and still shouldn't be said in public. So, he needs to be gone.
Not from that comment. He needs a
No, not from that specific one comment, but from everything. It's now a whole track record, and always has been with Brian Kelly. And he don't win nothing. So, what are they really doing?
C-Mac, he's done a pretty good job at Notre Dame. Now they're not gonna win championship because when you get there, you're gonna play Ohio State, you're gonna play Alabama, you're gonna play Clemson, and you're just not gonna have enough horses at that moment. But they have a good team, and they get there. I can't hate on Brian Kelly. He's doing as much as he can at Notre Dame with their resources. It's academics is a little bit tougher to get into than other schools. He's done a good job, but he's not gonna win championship there anytime soon.
I hope not. I hope he don't win nothing. They should have lost last night.
They should have.
But it is what it is, right? Hopefully he learns from this mistake. I don't know. I doubt it. I doubt it.
It was just a bad
But as always, gentlemen, I'm going to sit here and enjoy the rest of breakfast with my father. May y'all have a good Monday, a good week, and be looking forward to the new show tomorrow, Swain.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
Terrell says, wait, he is washing dishes?
Oh, Daddy got him washing them dishes. Get in there, boy. Bust them suds.
A little elbow grease into it, boy.
If you want some breakfast, you got to earn these biscuits. Get in there and bust them suds. All right, let's get to Jay. Jay, good morning.
Dang, Swain, we ready to fire people over a bad joke?
Man, C-Mac ruthless. He's ruthless this morning.
Golly.
No.
Good Lord, I tell you what, you can't say nothing these days.
No, it was a bad joke.
I saw the comment. I just took it like a guy trying to be funny who just wasn't funny,
That's what I took it as.
Yeah, I don't think there was really any actual malice behind the comment, but
nope.
Well, guys, do y'all feel any better about the Bowling Green game after seeing all these teams struggle?
Yeah, for sure.
They should have beat.
Sure.
They should have beat handily, and they didn't.
For sure. For sure. Open the show talking about that.
Yeah.
But feel better.
I mean, Tulane was picked 7th in their own conference.
Gave Oklahoma a scare if the quarterback didn't try to jump from the free throw line like Michael Jordan.
I don't get the Spencer Rattler love. I mean, he's got the natural athleticism, but he's just not a guy that I would want to be my quarterback. Lacks leadership, erratic, can't trust him. I'm good.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get a chance to talk with y'all about the game, but some things have to be put into context.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe Milton played 5 games last year
mm-hmm.
in a COVID year in an offense that is probably not suited to his talent.
Correct.
He got here in May. He didn't have spring practice. He's only had fall practice. But to compare him and look, I'm so sick of talking about JG. Let that kid live his life.
I know, man.
Okay, like he's in Washington. Let him live his life. But I heard like comparisons to JG. If you watch Joe Milton and you can't see the talent and the potential oozing out of that kid, and you think that's Jarrett Gantano, I can't help you at this point.
I really question your football acumen, man. If you are really comparing those two quarterbacks, I'm not one that believes that you can't have a take or you can't criticize or you can't have an opinion if you haven't played the game. I don't believe that at all, because I think there's a lot of smart folks that watch a lot of football that are spot on with their football takes. But if you're making that take, I'm questioning whether you understand or know the game or not, because they are not the same player.
You could see Joe Milton, the physical tools that he has, the size, strength, the speed, the arm strength. We haven't had a quarterback like that in 20 years. I mean, Tyler Bray had great arm strength. Tyler Bray can't run like Joe Milton. I mean, the physical tools, if this guy puts it together, if Josh Heupel can mold him into a quarterback, I mean, this guy will be off the charts.
I'm looking at not the physical things with Joe Milton, just the way his personality. Mm-hmm. His personality, I think it attracts his teammates. Sitting there in between him and K. Mays last Tuesday, those guys hitting it off. Seeing Joe Milton in some of the videos and at practice. I mean, having fun. The last quarterback just he was uptight. He wasn't from here. He's a Jersey kid, so it was always just a little bit different. It just wasn't the same. So yeah, like there's some chemistry there. Those guys have some confidence in Joe. Joe is confident in himself. So it's certainly different. And yeah, his physical tools are different too.
Oh man, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, Josh Dobbs could run, but Josh Dobbs couldn't throw it like Joe Milton. I mean, this guy's got the best of both worlds. And yeah, there's stuff that he's going to have to improve and get better on if he wants to beat Pitt. But, Swain, and like I was thinking, even if he went out and threw for 500 yards and we scored 60 points, I wouldn't have overreacted. It's one game. Like, that doesn't mean he's the savior either. It's just one game. Let the kid adjust to this offense. It's a new coach, new offense, new school, new everything right now. And I trust Heupel and Golish and the other guy, the other QB coach. We'll sit down with him and show him what he did well, what he could do better. And these guys have a track record of producing quarterbacks. So I'm not going. I think people just need to maybe take a chill pill on that.
Chill it out. Appreciate the phone call though, Jay.
Spot on. Even if Joe Milton had lit the world on fire, you take it with a grain of salt because of the opponent. We'll learn a lot about Joe Milton against Pittsburgh, and in my opinion, against Florida as well, unless Milton just comes out and just completely spirals out of control.
John K says, how do you guys feel about Cade playing tackle? I know he's a natural guard. How does that work with the new coaching staff coming in and coaching a veteran who has a good shot playing at the next level? Tackle makes more money, right? What is his NFL outlook? Well, Cade came in to Georgia as a tackle, and then they moved him. He played some tackle, played some guard, and that's what you want. You want to be versatile. You want to be able to play multiple positions. Of course, tackle is the moneymaker, especially left tackle. That is the moneymaker position. But Cade is versatile, and he's going to play at the next level. He's going to make some money, and his versatility allows Tennessee's coaching staff, Glenn Ellaby, to put his best 5 on the football field. That's the versatility is something that Trey Smith had as well. When you can only do something, only do one thing, even though you do it well, it sometimes kind of pigeonholes the coaching staff and trying to find the best guys around you to fill out the unit and do what's best for the unit. So Trey, as great as he was also a good guard. He was also a good tackle. And so when you're trying to put the best 5 out there, you could do that because you can move around. That's the same thing you could do with Cade Mays. So, CJ Vol, I'll read this one. I think this was good. CJ says, Evans is about to take Jabari Small's #1 spot. He is complete back that can do it all. Jabari is good, but Evans is better. I think we are in a good spot with our running back room. I'll remind CJ Vol again, it's only been one game.
And I don't think any
of
those two are just going to completely take over the job. I mean, I think, as we talked about all fall camp, it's going to be 1A, 1B all season long unless somebody gets banged up, in my opinion.
One game, CJ Vol. I'm going to remind you again for like the 15th time today. One game is one game. That's a nice 1-2 punch, and Jabari's first for a reason. But, man, Tyon is certainly capable of being #1, and I don't think it really matters, to be honest. I mean, they both had the same amount of yards. Now, Jabari picked up more carries. He had 6 more carries than Tyon, but I can see a case where Tyon may have more carries than Jabari Small on any given Saturday. So I like what we are running back. Tyon is, I think, a little bit better in space, making guys miss, but I like Jabari Small's ability to put one foot in the ground, finish runs, and accelerate.
I like his ability to refuse to be brought down.
Yes.
That's what I love about him. I talked over the offseason about how he reminds me of John Kelly, just the refusal to be brought down. I think Jabari is going to have a really good year. Which player, real quick, about a minute and a half before we get out of here, which player excited you the most in the opener?
It was Tyon.
It was?
Yeah, it was Tyon.
What about defensively?
Defensively, man.
For me, it was Elijah, those first 2 drives. First 2 possessions, just bulldozing his way back in the backfield.
Yeah.
Cockroaching folks.
Yeah, it was good to see him, man, because we've heard so much about him. We talked about him at length. It was good, but man, it was good to see Theo Jackson flying around making plays. So it's hard not to point him out because he was everywhere. So I think that's a good one by you. But on offense, I'm going Tyon just because, man, him making guys miss in space, man. Like, anybody can be a running back, carry the ball, and run straight until they run into somebody. Yeah. But the great running backs are the ones that can make guys miss in space.
And I hate to do this, but now I want to see it against Pittsburgh and Florida.
Heck yeah, man.
Like, it's really cool to see it against Bowling Green, but he's supposed to do that against Bowling Green. He's a running back at the University of Tennessee. He should be doing that against Bowling Green. Now let's see if that translates to Pitt and Florida as well.
That's right. We'll have Pittsburgh coverage more and more tomorrow. The coaches will be talking to the media this week. Josh Heupel is ready to rock and roll today for his his press conference. And let's see what kind of questions Ben gonna ask today, man. Represent, Ben.
As of 10:01, I have no idea what I'm going to
Represent, man. Give the people what they want. Ask the questions that people want to know.
Well, people want to know when Harrison Bailey's going to start. I don't think it's wise for me to ask that question. I don't want to piss Heupel off today.
Some people. Oh my God, what a way to end the show, Ben. I hate you.
You did this to yourself.
Tomorrow, same time, right there on the Swain Event app. Also streaming on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live. We hope you have a great day. For Ben McKee, I'm Jason Swain. The Swain Event's fueled by Dead End Barbecue. Peace and love. We are out. Have a great day. Have a blessed day.